Welcome into the Friday edition of the Huddle. Let's do it. Let's get it. Drew Wilson, Bill Schmidt, Armin Sarian bringing it to you from headquarters on this still chilly Friday in the good land. Expecting some flurries this morning, just in time when we slide down the back of the dinosaur to get into traffic in the snow.
Beautiful, but the good thing is you're going the wrong way. You're going in with all the workers and everyone's going to be looking around. But the good thing is that reminds me of like when I was coming back and trying to drive into my parents' house when I was working nights and I was living in the basement, but I was still, going out till 3 or 4 in the morning. And then I crashed on somebody's couch. And then you're just driving home and you're like, all right, all these people are going to work. I'm on about 2 hours of sleep, and I'm going to stop at Quick Trip and have an intermittent breakfast and then go right back to sleep. What a life we live. What a time it is, and what a week weather-wise that I do think, even though we're getting sent out with snow, I think we might be getting out of the worst of this whole deal.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. The worst of the cold is going to be behind us.
Thaw soon, huh? A couple of days to melt some of it.
Well, and the big debate I've been going through personally is when to get my car washed because, everyone gets their car washed when it finally hits 32. But it's like, do I really need to do that? Maybe I should just get it washed now when nobody else is and kind of just deal with the consequences.
That's a good point.
What's worse? I mean, getting your car frozen or having the salt stay on your car all day? I really don't know.
I was at the auto parts store the other day, and they had this stuff, and it was
just hanging out,
a spray bottle. I had to go pick something up, but something caught my eye. A spray bottle of stuff, and it's like car wash in a bottle. And so since I have like underground parking and stuff, if I don't get the car, it's every time you get in and out of the car, you get the salt on your coat somehow.
Exactly. My pants every time.
Pisses you off.
Yeah.
So it's a spray stuff, and it's basically you don't need any water. It's like the waterless dog shampoo.
I was gonna say it's dry shampoo for your car.
Dry shampoo for your car.
I don't know, man. That's it.
Sprayed it on, wiped it off, and hey, that worked actually pretty good.
It just strikes me as some Billy May as seen on TV stuff. I mean, does Flex Seal really work? I mean,
it actually worked though, and I'm like, okay. It was like. The bottle lasted for basically 2 scrubbings, but it got me through it. It made it look a little bit more palatable. I'm sure I need to get some wash to get the salt off the undercarriage and stuff, but hey, it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm the bad test subject on that. I'll maybe get my car washed once a winter. I don't even think about it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's nobody in that line. Maybe I'll do it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I actually do it. And I'm like, damn. So $12 for that? I totally could have done that at home. I'm going to do that at home come in the spring.
I could have waited for it to rain.
And then I think about it in fall, and I'm like, damn, I was going to wash my car all summer.
Exactly.
And I didn't do it at all. So I'll usually go like one annual wash a year, and then hopefully that works out for the boy.
So, 10 days from the Super Bowl, Giannis on the block, Packers with shifting things around. And you idiots are talking about the weather. Why? Because Brooke Brighton's going to join the show at 6:30.
Let's go. All right.
Yes. Brooke Brighton, 6:40, bring a ray of sunshine, hang out with us.
That's right.
After Dolph joins us. And big basketball fan, good hooper. And Armin Sarian learned the lesson about that at the Boston City Battle. I'm excited to hear about that.
Buckeye, friend of the show from Spectrum News, Spectrum News 1. Will be joining us today at 6:40. So we got that to look forward to. Now, a couple of points of order before we do dive into the meaty topics of the day. It's the end of our first full week of the Huddle. And if my University of Wisconsin education, like my University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee education is correct, this would be our 9th show.
Check your math on that.
That's correct. Yep. This is number 9.
Trio.
That's right.
And new ground broken today because I told you guys one of the things about making the shift as I did from afternoons to mornings is that it's that my flight's at 5 a.m. sleep. And every 15 minutes from 2 a.m. on, you're looking at the clock and you're wondering, and I didn't learn to trust the alarm, right? It's like, I got to trust the alarm.
Common situation.
Set on my phone.
Yeah, same here.
Well,
common
this
situation.
morning, I got up a couple of times and I'm like, the alarm is set. I don't need to look at the clock.
Uh-oh.
And then I woke up and looked at the clock. The alarm had not been set. I forgot to set the alarm. And it was about 5 minutes before the time that I usually have to leave Stately Olson Manor. And I'm like, a little scramble this morning. And it's like that, the palpitation that jump starts your heart.
Yeah, it does.
Right out of the rack. The heart rate goes up about 25 beats per minute. And it's like, okay, game on. So this is the first time I did that. But I'm so ingrained now already that I feel like, okay, I woke up naturally at just about the right time.
You're screwed.
but I got
You're
use the
totally
alarm
in
now.
Your body's in now.
My body's in morning mode. So it took 9 shows. It took 2 weeks.
However much of this, the coffee, what you got, a Celsius, maybe a Diet Mountain Dew, whatever your caffeine pill of choice will be, nothing will wake you up quite like the experience that you just explained.
Yes. That rush of dopamine and adrenaline to know, oh my goodness, here my flight's about to leave, aka we're about to be on, and absolutely that is the case now. Because you go through at least for me, I go through the turmoil of, do I set the daily alarm ahead of time? Because when I do that, Laura doesn't like it because you say you're going to forget on the weekends, Armin. You will forget on the weekends to turn your alarm off.
It's going to go off. Like, she's going to be mad.
You're absolutely right. Well, she's
she said my
she cares about
Androids, you can't set the day that it rings.
Well, you can do it. I just don't. I don't figure out how to do anything correctly. And then, and so then I'm like, I'm going to set this thing every day. But then you get the little morning show paranoia inside you. Like, what if somehow, for some reason, this first alarm doesn't work? So then I just set like 14 of them in a row. And then on the way to work, I got them all going off.
I set 2. One for the time that I need to get up and one for the time that I absolutely have to get up in the bathroom. So, And then the thing is, like, you wake up for the first one. And if you don't turn off the second one, I'm being mid-shower.
Then it's hammering away.
It's not
buzzing off of the table, and then it falls and wakes everybody up.
Anybody who's listening to us is already up. And you're either up for work, or you have a purpose, or you're just wired that way. Or maybe you're one of the sociopaths waiting to get in the Y when they open at 5 a.m.
Well, in that, those folks will be more panicked and upset if they miss that, right? If they miss the 5 a.m. as to when they were supposed to start spin class, that's going to be a nauseating experience. I appreciate, though, that I got 2 extremely mature and veteran guys like that, because I appreciate that you panicked about it. I was so nonchalant about it. I accidentally set my alarm poorly, Drew, a couple of weeks ago, one of our final shows that Armin and I were doing, and my wife just backhands me. Hey,
go.
You got to get up.
I think you're supposed to be at work by now. And I just sat up and grabbed the keys and walked right out. It was maybe one of the worst decisions of all time. But that quick dopamine, again,
it gets you going.
Unlike caffeine, it fired us up right away at 6 a.m.
It's the 15 seconds or 20 seconds when it does go off.
Sudden change.
Of not understanding what's going on. Like the law, I don't have consciousness yet of like, oh, I'm actually supposed to be up right now. This is reality. I'm going to work today. Like whatever weird dream I was having, which I have many of, as you know, Billy, whatever weird dream I was having is basically not reality. And the reality is you're supposed to be upright. It always takes like 15 seconds to get back into that stream of consciousness where I do understand
what's going on. Bucks offensive possession.
It is. And then it's too late. Luckily, my shot clock is in 24. And I have to do it over and over again, without no play called and, no semblance of organized to keep. Well, never mind. That's a totally different rant for
Drew. This just gets more painful and painful by the day. Watching this team and living and dying with this experience.
Don't worry.
Wow, that was tough last night.
Only our third loss to the Wizards this year. Don't worry.
That is that is striking when you lose to the Wizards 3 times and look hapless and like, Miles Turner. There's a reason Indiana let Miles Turner walk, right? I mean, nice player and all, but he's not the dude.
No, and clearly not the dude when he has to be the number one guy, right? Like, I mean, he likes to try to take the mantle over, but it has not been a successful venture, and especially when a guy that earlier on in the year when Giannis was out for a couple of games, Ryan Rollins put a little bit of a cape on and had people thinking he was a potential all-star.
Yeah.
He's Ryan Rollins, a really good player. He's a nice player in the NBA. But when you're counting on them to be your bucket fillers night in and night out, you're going to be in a tough spot. And Bobby Portis starts out with 13 points in the first half. Then the water just completely shuts off in the second. Couldn't stop a sieve defensively. Drew, there's a couple of things that are going to be even more nauseating. But when a guy named Bub legitimately calls himself Bub, drops 13 on you, and it seems like could have had a much better night. Those are the times when just vibes wise, you'll really get down in the dumps.
Yes.
He has that little of respect for himself, Armin. He's legit asking people to call him Bub.
Absolutely,
and dropping 13 on you off the bench. And that wasn't even the worst part when George comes in with 23, and you sit here at the Potawatomi Sportsbook like, well, this guy's totally going to get 6 boards.
Yeah,
totally going to get 6 boards with that 23 and 5 stat line.
Oh no!
Billy. I thought at least we were going to save some solace last night.
Oh no, you're still waiting for those boards, man.
But my goodness, I mean, just the water shuts off for this team. That's the month that started with them winning the 3 of 4, the victory in LA, And now, Drew, they've lost to, in the last week, the likes of the Wizards, Sixers, had a game postponed, and that was the best thing to happen to them.
Best thing that happened to him was that American Airlines couldn't get the plane off the ground in Dallas, especially if Cooper had played like he did last night. That is the best thing that happened to him, no doubt.
This month of January is quickly, Drew, becoming reminiscent of a Packers game where the Bucks, really, we had them in the first half of the month.
Yep.
That January 8th moment when we got that article from Sam Amick, that was the 21-3 lead we may have had. And now quickly we just watched them score with a DJ Moore touchdown, and this is becoming very painful.
The churn on Giannis, and we're a week away, right, from the trade deadline?
Less than, yeah.
Less than
Thursday. We're inside of a week. And the churn, it's you can't avoid it now. Like they had a little to do for Peter Fagan, outgoing president of the Bucks, and like it's the cloud over the franchise, over the city, the uncertainty, and the churn of it. It's unavoidable. So every podcast, everything in your social is somebody on a podcast chirping about this. And what cracks me up is the national media, the Ringer guys, and the Zach Lowe's and Shamses and Windhorst to a point where they're approaching the story like a lot of us. They're sick of it already. They're the fatigue, and they're complaining about the fatigue from the stuff they've been feeding us for like 5 years. They're tired of the story that they've been shoveling coal into this furnace for the fire.
Yes.
And then they're sick of the fire. I used to say that about Brett Favre all the time because he had this uncanny knack to kick up a bleep storm.
Sure.
He's the guy who kicks over the lantern in the barn and then it's torches up. And he's like, what are those fire trucks doing here? What's going on, guys?
What happened?
Yeah, Jack Waffle, you did this.
Why'd you guys all fly down here to Mississippi for my golf outing?
Yeah.
It's coming to the point where it's like this, I guess, and I've never been through this. I think some of our smart, good-looking listeners could weigh in. Maybe some attorneys in a certain specialized field or some people who have gone through rocky relationships can tell me. It's like a divorce where, we're staying together for the kids and somebody's got to step up and say, I want out. That's it. Otherwise, you're just going to sit here. The Bucks are, hey, we can just sit. He hasn't asked for a trade. People are calling us. We're listening, but he hasn't until he asks for a trade. Why would we trade him? Why would we trade a generational player, the face of our franchise, the biggest star in our city? There was a debate online yesterday about whether Giannis is the most lovable athlete in Wisconsin sports history.
I did see that one.
Saw that. Yeah,
he's in the mix. Up. Yeah, Dan Schaefer fired that up.
Yeah, Nags
he's in the mix, and then Nags chimed
in.
in. He's in the mix for it for sure. I still think maybe a couple of quarterbacks were more lovable at a time, but then it's hard to separate what happened after they were here than remembering what it was like while they were playing.
For some,
correct.
Some do a good job with that.
Yeah,
separation cognitively.
Plus, it's a flawed argument because there's no metric. It's a subjective. It's like, who's your favorite athlete? Well, how can, and there can't be any debate. Oh yeah, there can. Everything. My daughter's favorite player was Bill Hall, and she has Bill Hall probably ahead of Giannis. So shut up. It's what everybody's their own. Everybody likes their own of the 31 flavors available.
And it's easier to use the word subjective or objective depending on however you want the narrative and the conversation to fit. Right? Objectively, nobody has meant more to the city. Well, you could also say one for 3 decades of futility and then bringing another generational Hall of Fame player, first ballot guy, because he was that good. That might have objectively meant more to the organization.
And then there are the olds who are going to say, well,
what about Bart?
What about Henry Aaron and Warren Spahn? And what about, Robin? Yeah. So it's all your own filter, and it's a fun discussion, but there's never going to be a definitive who's the most loved. And it's like,
unless you take a poll, I guess. Unless you actually put it on the ballot in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, but even then,
somebody would win. My point is, somebody would win, but it doesn't mean you get 100% of anything.
No.
Yeah, somebody have a different opinion.
My least favorite, and I know Armin's still getting smoke from Bears fans, of course, but
whatever.
My least favorite reply to any question or poll that we ever throw out is like, "Why is this even a question?"
That right up there is when do we start the conversation for me.
Yeah. Why is this even a question?
Because we live.
Because I feel this way and my opinion's right.
Well, that comes down to, Drew, how we argue and how we debate things now. It's no longer why my point is right. It's why your point is wrong and why you are an idiot.
I've been saying that for years. It's like it used to be, and no matter what it was, religion, politics, sports.
Yeah.
I have my opinions and my values. You have yours, and we both exist. Yeah. Now it's like my opinion is right, yours is wrong, and yours should not exist.
Should never exist. You should not be able to share that.
You shouldn't even exist or be allowed to express it. And then I have to stomp that down. Like,
did we all went too far into the sorry, I apologize, I'm not movie literate. The Ferris Bueller one, we are all dumber for hearing what you just said. You get no points.
No points.
That was Adam Sandler, right? That was
yes.
Billy Madison. Where everybody immediately says, no, that's horrible. You can't share that anymore.
Yeah.
You don't deserve to be able to say ridiculousness like that. I also just, it depends on how old you are. It depends on where you're at. It depends on the sport and how much it impacts your life as to which one would be more important. I think the better part of the conversation, that question, when you're talking about the lovability is, has there been one that hasn't gone through the similar end game and the similar final end in Wisconsin, where it's somewhat of an unceremonious exit?
Yeah.
Where, sure,
right.
Giannis's will feel, I think, a little bit more celebrated because people are happier for him, seemingly, because they also don't want to, or we don't put any of the things that have transpired over the last couple of years on him, right, wrong, or indifferent. But he will be lauded, I think, a lot more than those guys were right away on the way out.
But we should be conditioned to this. We had Curly Lambeau.
Everyone does.
Left.
Yeah, that's a good
point. Vince Lombardi left. Right. Brett Favre left.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers left. Kareem left.
Yeah.
We've gone down this street. We had an entire franchise ripped away from our city in the 60s. They left. So we should be scarred over, but you never are. You never want this to end. And that's I did say, and at the risk of separating my shoulder, patting myself on the back for years, the time I've been behind a microphone at Giannis's entire career, I'm like, enjoy this kid, enjoy him while he's here. Go to games, watch games, make yourself. Even when they were bad, he was so entertaining and gangly, and I was so entranced by his Buddy the Elf persona when he first got here. And it's like, you gotta watch this kid, And they should build a statue to Giannis and probably a smaller statue to John Hammond for bringing him in and for drafting a generational player, because you'll never have that story and that whole vibe that he brought again. We watched this kid grow up.
Yeah, that's the thing. We watched him grow up.
And we kind of watched, and it's a little bit that way. It was a little bit that way with Favre. Like Aaron Rodgers was more plug and play in terms of development, but Favre came here, the bumpkin, the third stringer, went from the almost out of the league in Atlanta to, one of the GOATs. So we get these stories, enjoy them. It's why we watch the sports. It's going to be tough. And more people now, it seems, are at peace with the idea of if he has to go, he has to go. Cleveland went through this with LeBron, and we didn't really pay a lot of attention. The decision thing, they got their guts ripped out. Then he came back and won a title for him.
I think that was a big
That
factor.
story is Shakespearean in its own way too. And now he might finish there. He might go there next year and play one last year with Cleveland, like a farewell rocking chair tour. I'm here for it. It's like, why not?
It's a great story. It lives out the best sports story life of all time for LeBron James. I think I might have to craft that and start to adopt that phrasing.
The best story life, the best sports
story life of all time.
You get debate on it, but that's what we're talking about, right? I mean, everyone can have their own opinion.
From somebody to grow up on Sports Illustrated,
in that
have
hometown,
ESPN literally crowbar out national high school coverage to be able to show your games, play in your own hometown, come back there where you're villainized. Yeah, it's a hell of a sports life when you are told to be the greatest and then become one of the greatest. Giannis was, again, Drew, it's a simple plan to execute again. Just pick a random guy out of the crowd who's almost 7 feet tall.
Make him the best ever.
Make him the best player you've ever seen. It's pretty simple. Just do it again. I think we just draft right in the middle of the first round every year and just look around. That guy. And maybe you get lucky again, because that's how crazy it felt like of a lottery ticket win when in 2013 he came with that pick when all I wanted was Shane Larkin.
Yeah.
How on earth are you passing on Shane Larkin?
Didn't you see him in Miami? Come on. Didn't you see him in Miami? Barry Larkin's kid, the
lineage, everything you want. He understands what it's like to be a pro.
You know what?
Goodness.
We will always fall in love too. We'll never be callous to it because the whole thing of being a sports fan is all about emotions. It's about love. It's about investing your own vulnerabilities into loving something that's bigger than yourself. So in a way, that's the way it should be. That's why it hurts. It hurts because it was so special. I think a lot of people did appreciate the time here. That's why we know it's going to be ending, and it hurts to know that part is ending, and that part of our own lives is ending. So it's how you transition to the next phase, and it kind of reflects our own lives. And it's very hard because I think we saw a taste last night in the last couple of weeks of what life was like before Giannis and what life will be like after for a while.
That's true.
And that is, I'm sorry, just a lot less interesting and fun basketball.
It's bleak, no question about it. We're off and running. Shooting shirts are coming off. We're working up a little lather for you on this Friday. We're going to break the tape strong because Matt LePay, the voice of the Badgers, is going to join us at 7:30. At 6:30, we got our halftime reporter. Dolph is going to come in, Scott Dolphin, and then Brooke Brighton's going to brighten our day from Spectrum News 1. Talk a little weather with her, talk a little hoop, talk some Buckeyes, just catch up.
And hopefully
she's up at this time.
I was going to say she's up actually before us. So she actually is going to brighten us and hopefully wake us up a little bit more. Too.
Get yourself a comfortable chair and a cold or hot beverage of your choice and buckle up because we're in the huddle till 8 a.m. Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin.
Ooh.
Drew Armin and Billy bringing it to you on the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin, 920 Milwaukee, 1070 Madison, worldwide on the iHeartRadio app, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Although the archived copies have been disappearing, we're working on it, folks.
Yeah, listen.
I want you to be able to watch the show at any time.
At any given point in time. Now, the problem is when you become so rapidly successful, people start getting nervous about the quick ascent to the top. So they're trying to do anything they can to stunt the growth here.
Yeah.
Before we even get to double digits, Drew, they're trying to take down the platform because they've heard the Huddle is the hottest show in the world. That's crazy how quickly that happens.
Show in our listening area for sure. And we appreciate all those people who are getting up early with us and just chopping it up. You can join us on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line 877-794-1973.
Which we say never closes, right?
Never closes. I mean,
it
gets robust business after Packer games because that's the same number that we use for Packers OT.
Or like at 12:32 a.m. last night, which I don't know if you guys noticed this one coming in from our friend in the 414. He said, gentlemen, I hear you're talking text lines open 24/7. I've been a listener for years now, and I own and operate, and I captain Edelweiss Cruises downtown Milwaukee. And I'm in the 414.
Let's go.
I also owned your boy Chef Adam's restaurant on Wells Street. He ended up getting the head job and catering our boats. I love what you guys are doing, and I found the podcast. It's beautiful. By the way, I totally would have gotten Billy's quiz about the Packers coach, but I couldn't listen until the afternoon. I love the shout outs. Got a couple of screenshots of my text threads from the text line that I want to send you guys. And he sends us in text for the next. That first message comes in at 12:32.
Love it.
And the last text that comes in from a man is at 2:52 that said, your bosses chose the right three. Good work.
I love it.
All right, let's go.
That's what I'm talking about.
What we're talking about.
Now, there's a lot here in the middle that we're gonna get into, and we're gonna discuss. Potentially, hopefully, off the record with our friend because
I saw
some
that
good stuff in there. Hopefully,
great stuff.
But the amount of screenshots of text sent to the radio station, I appreciate that calling out to say, hey, is it really open? Because I'm sending this thing at 11 a.m. or at 11 p.m. and I want to make sure that it's running through. Well, brother, we are here waking up with you and thinking about a cruise on Lake Michigan in July already.
Would that be wonderful? To get out there in the water, pretend like you're cool. That's one of my favorite things about the Edelweiss cruise. It makes me feel like I'm one of the most important people when I'm riding on that beautiful boat and there's music. And I'm waving to people out on the sidewalk going down the Milwaukee River. And I'm like, I'm the man out here. You guys see me? I'm on a boat. Like, that is one of the best feelings.
The horn blows and, everyone looks and you just give the little captain's wave.
Yep, exactly. The captain's wave. I wear a little hat, like a little bucket hat, maybe like I'm Gilligan. You know what I mean?
Would that be, Drew, if you went on the All Milwaukee Day? Would that be a part of the All Milwaukee Day?
Gotta be up there.
Yeah.
Right? Like Miles Turner. Now, luckily, he went through the full gamut of Wisconsin stuff, and then they started playing basketball. So I'm glad that he did all that in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
He had, cheese curds, went to a Packers game, went to a Brewers game, went to the art museum. Like, you hit a bunch of different things. Edelweiss cruise at the end of the night might be the best one. I still remember my first trip on the cruise, and that was when my buddy looked at us as we got on, and friend Travis and I are sitting there saying, man, we got $26 for the rest of the night. This is going to be kind of tough. All right, we're going to stretch this out.
Right.
But he taps us on the shoulder, goes, all right, guys, secret with this is it's all you can drink. So get 2 every single time you walk up. What?
Let's go.
What? That was a bad deal. That was a bad thing to tell us because it then became a competitive night.
It's a bad choice.
For 90 minutes.
Best thing about Edelweiss, too, is like it would dock and like let off at the same spot right on third there. So you could go right to Buckheads. You know what I mean?
Our pal, that Port of Call restaurant that he's talking about, it then morphed into, at one point, a place, it was called Pier 106.
Sure, we were there.
Wall Street. And we did a remote there. I remember we did like a remote and a podcast taping.
Beers on the table, right?
We had a beers on the table remote. We had Paul Wagner there.
The first time I met Wags.
Showed up.
Yep, the first time I met Wags. And I told Wags, I said, I really enjoy watching you pitch, man. And he goes, why? Were you drunk? And that was the best. I was like, all right, now I know this is Wags. Like, you know what I mean? It's your introduction to him. And he goes, Armin, I know you didn't enjoy watching my 5.8 ERA in Milwaukee or whatever the 1 year he was here.
It was surreal that I was covering the Brewers and Wags, who I played high school hoops against in baseball and stuff and he was pitching for the Brewers.
Right.
It was almost surreal.
That is super cool.
We were contemporaries. All right, 877-794-1973. Love that text. And yes, we'd love to make that happen. Big fans. I live on the river. And
I was going to say, you're right. That's a home game.
I see them all the time. I wave to them when I'm at my pool.
You could jump in.
I almost could. You know? Stop at my dock. Let me off.
Yeah.
Well, it really, and it does become one of those deals where you live in Milwaukee. I've lived here my whole life. And all of a sudden you go on one of the cruises and you're like, damn, why do I not do this all the time?
All the time.
Why do I not do this all the time? How many times have I been back?
I don't once, none.
Zero. Like, so that's again the thing of you're like, damn, I'm really messing up because I need to be back. And that is a great way to celebrate a summer day. And we need to start thinking about those good summer days.
Oh, right
Thinking
away.
about those days because they are coming. They are coming sooner rather than later. And I hate that we're already doing this, Drew, because this also does feel like it's because of the basketball team. And because we're inside of 2 weeks away from pitchers and catchers reporting, we're going to get to baseball season, but it's going to be a grind. We're going to have to live through potentially some real dark and cold sports days because the entertainment value is low right now in the NBA for us.
Yes, it is. If you look elsewhere, again, the NBA is going through a weird arc, hasn't it? Like
very much so.
It's usually successful. Look at the salaries they can pay, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not selling pencils or anything.
No,
right? They're going to have
there.
another CBA and all that, but it's always trippy because they have 15-man rosters and you got guys who you consider kind of stiffs, replaceables, making ridiculous cash compared to across the spectrum of baseball guys. And look at what I don't even know what does AJ Green make? Not that AJ Green I'm not picking on or anything, but for like what does he make?
At least 10. I think he signed a 4-year $44 million deal in the offseason.
11.25. He's on a 4.45.
All right. So like the guy's and he's kind of a fringe starting, almost adjacent player, a rotational player, right? Sometimes starting, but
good way of putting it.
But 11 million. And then like Caleb Durbin made $600,000 or $700,000 or whatever the minimum
half
is.
of the Brewers starting lineup damn near did, right?
It's just, And
well, what's Caleb Williams make? I mean, that's the same in the NFL. When you're on a rookie salary, you're making $1 million a year. Maybe, unless you're a high draft, I guess he's making a lot more.
Yeah, but the numbers just become so astronomical in the NBA. It becomes almost monopoly
Bobby
money.
Portis, a starting player, but not an all-star, right? But
no, a guy that was debating that he was sixth man of the year possibility.
Is he starting? Is he sixth man? Like, would he start on some teams? Sure. Other teams, rotation.
He's on like a 3.43, and everyone said that was a pay cut. Like that was a hometown discount to the Bucks. You know?
Yeah. So, but the NBA, I'm just saying, like the amount of money that they pay, and the job, and part of it is social media. Well, the NBA leaned into that, and they put out the best highlights and stuff. But there's no
best clips.
And now that Inside the NBA has been kind of shelved by ESPN, that was the hub where I would watch Ernie Shack and the crew.
They know what happened.
Charles,
about the league.
I would watch them, but not the games that they were bumping into.
Yeah.
Like I'd watch the panel, but that was better than the games. And it's become regional the way that baseball has in some ways. But for example, last night, great game, Cooper Flagg against Con Knueppel.
Yep.
Like the game of the night last night was the two rookies going at it.
For sure it was.
Cooper Flagg scores 49, but the Hornets win. And that's just a great night of entertainment. Was that on anybody's radar? I didn't even know until like last night.
Until you read the game story.
On.
Yeah.
Until it was going on. I didn't know until it was in progress. Like it's not that they don't plant that seed. And the NBA, you can be an NBA fan. And I think there are a lot of people who are NBA fans who don't have NBA TV, who don't even watch a full game.
Yeah, 100%, because the highlights are so good. The highlights are so good. Yeah. And the amount of the accessibility as to how they've allowed their product to be repurposed online. It's kudos to Adam Silver because it is adopted into the culture. I might not be able to sit down and watch 2.5 hours of a game, especially in the midst of a bedtime circus that we're going to roll through in the house. But 16 minutes at the end of the game condensed in where I'm going to see everything is a difficult beast to pass up. And I think the other part of it is, Drew, that they've battled with are the games are so good in the playoffs, but there's so much volume in the regular season. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't make the kind of money that they do. You can't have the kind of luxurious travel and accoutrements to the bill that you have if you don't play all of those games and you don't have that much gate and those many banked nights to sell to networks. However, I think everybody watching the game on any given January night's like, I mean,
this is watered down. Yeah,
we could make this 65 and I think we'd all be okay. Like the viewers want less. I think the players want less, but everyone knows there's no chance you can have less because then the life that we become accustomed to living goes away, and I become accustomed to a certain standard of living, and I don't think the NBA is trying to go back that
It's
way.
an absolute catch-22, Billy. You're right about that. I mean, in terms of the lifestyle, in terms of the product as well, when it's so good in the playoffs and it's so different from the regular season, well, the reason that difference is stark and people know that is like, okay, then they're going to casual their way through the regular season. That's just the reality. I mean, even the most fervent of NBA fans know that there isn't that much of a risk of missing part of a game in December or January when you know there are big ones coming up. So that's just the way it is. And the game becomes such a different game in the playoffs. You're almost watching a different sport in a lot of ways in the regular season and some. But you're right, Billy. There's no way they don't want to give that money back. They don't want those checks getting smaller.
So while, and again, we circle back to the Giannis thing, while the NBA media establishment, the media industrial complex, is complaining and bemoaning the Giannis situation because everybody's tired of it and they want a resolution, and the Giannis hasn't come out and said he wants a trade, and the Bucks haven't said anything. They're complaining about it. But what would they be talking about if not for that?
Well, that's the thing. It's filled up their content. It's filled up their articles for 5 years.
What other storylines in the league? Like, we're going to argue. Would we be having heated debates about whether Cooper Flagg or Concanippo is Rookie of the Year?
No. Maybe,
No.
but not
Does
as
that
much.
Get clicks?
Yeah. Won't get anything.
People
won't get
want
any
drama
traction.
and trades. People want that type of controversy.
I've seen people say, this is like worse than anything LeBron ever did. Is it really? Like, it's the.
That was edgelords.
I think it was Zach Lowe called it, or Howard Becker, one of those guys called it the most passive aggressive trade demand.
That I would
of
agree
all
with.
Time. Because
I think I might agree with the passive aggressive part of it.
It's like he won't say it, but his agent,
James Harden exists, but yes,
yeah,
there were guys that did something.
But James Harden demanded a trade.
I know he also wore.
You're also talking to the guy, talking about
Jimmy
guys
Butler.
that did demand trades.
Yeah,
the other ones say I want to trade, but won't say it because they don't want to be the bad guy.
Oh, that
would be the difference.
Jimmy Butler's the opposite end of the spectrum. He bullied everyone in practice and said, "I'm out of here."
Yeah, I'm gonna play with the ball kids before I play with you guys.
Yeah.
Absolute classic. 877-794-1973. In addition to talking to Brooke Brighton from Spectrum News 1 about the weather and about other things and just catching up, and talking to the voice of the Badgers, Matt LePay. We have a pair of Luke Bryan tickets to give away later in the program. That will be in the 7 o'clock hour. It's our last pair for the show, September 26th at Alpine Valley. So stay tuned for that. The Giannis debate is interesting, though. Who else would be in the discussion of the most loved athletes in Wisconsin sports history? We can tee that up if you have thoughts. If you're just waking up, we're glad you're hanging out with us. It's The Huddle on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. It's the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Drew Arman and Billy. Billy just rose up.
Up from the ashes like a phoenix, we will rise.
Yes.
Realizing my chair was on the lowest. Like, why on earth am I so down this morning? Why am I looking down at everything? I gotta wake up a little bit. Turn this thing up.
At that moment, he finally realized. It's sort of like sunrise time. When Billy goes out there in the break to watch the sunrise, the day's really starting. I mean, we're here. We exist. We're on. We're delivering the great content still since 5 a.m. But, there's a time they're like, all right, now.
That's when you know it really happens.
Now the cobwebs are out.
Yeah.
Boris in Brookfield, thanks for providing early morning good local sports talk so early. This is fantastic. Thank you, Boris, for being a listener and wanting that content.
Thank you, Boris.
Boris, thank you. How's your wife, Natasha, doing, Boris?
Yeah,
we're happy to entertain.
Yeah, should I reread it? It sounds Russian. Is that Eastern European?
Boris and Natasha was a cartoon.
Let's
Armin,
use calling.
Google it.
Come on, Armin.
I thought you get that
Did you not
reference.
know that one?
Boris and Natasha.
Yeah, Google the reference, Armin.
Oh gosh,
there were a couple.
I have some.
So local political blogger Dan Schaefer said, tweeted yesterday, Giannis is far and away the most beloved Wisconsin professional sports athlete of my lifetime. Definitely ahead of any individual Brewers player, and maybe this is a Milwaukee-centric opinion, but I've had him ahead of Rodgers and Favre too. Quote, it's not close. Now, recency bias, local bias, sure, but that started a bleep storm yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
People replying. And one of the better replies came from a local journalist who said, Milwaukee's view of the Wisconsin sports landscape is pretty skewed, to be honest. There are parts of the state where you can hardly watch a Brewers game and stretches that don't care about basketball. Packers are the clear default statewide.
Yeah.
That's true. I think that's true. I think I like Dan. I think there's a little bit of a blind spot with being in Milwaukee and having that, but that's totally understandable. But outstated is the Packers.
But it's also okay. And Giannis is now, if he goes somewhere, and let's say in 3 years, Giannis's new team plays the Bucks in the finals. Is he then the villain, the guy that we hate?
Well, he said he didn't want to be a time where he ends up getting booed. That would be a time where you'd be on the enemy side.
Rodgers and Favre had that gilded time, and they had their run a little bit longer than Giannis's, perhaps.
Yeah.
So 12 about the same, 12 years, but they had heel turns at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not, I've always pushed what about
back.
Reggie White?
Yeah, Reggie retired when Reggie came back to Carolina.
There was a time when if you'd have said Reggie White was absolutely, people would have argued at the top, and then they would have been like, no, what about Paul Hornung? What about Bart Starr?
Sure.
What about,
those guys went to New Orleans.
What about Kareem winning that? And the olds will say, what about Kareem winning that title? What about John McLaughlin, universally loved?
I know my dad's waiting with bated breath to say Ray Nitschke as the old Packer that would actually walk through the parking lots and hang out with folks either before, mostly after the game, to see how everybody was doing and celebrating the victory. Also, Pro Football Hall of Famer Leroy, I would like to include into that conversation as somebody that is just every single time he walks up, people immediately get put into a phenomenal mood. But there's always points in time where things potentially rocky or whatever it goes to. I've always pushed back. Drew, you'd be able to answer it a little bit better than I. I was born when Brett makes the dive in against the Falcons, right, in 94. Mm-hmm. So he's already started to ascend to people's favorite athlete in the world, right? And he's about to win 3 consecutive MVPs. So when I'm really cognizant of Brett Favre, there's nothing better than Brett Favre. He can do absolutely no wrong. Then 2003 transpires, and then 2007 goes through, and then there's little bits and pieces of it. But I never thought there would be a point in time where people would hate, or me personally would hate Brett Favre. And then he plays in 2009 with the Minnesota Vikings, and I don't know that I've ever hated somebody in professional sports more,
at least in that moment,
at that time.
Yeah.
So that full back and forth, I don't know if people will ever get there with Giannis, where there is a full-fledged venom towards it. You made a 2-year calculated move to go and stick it to us, not them, not Ted Thompson, but to the folks that were sitting here with the bringbackbrett.com banner that I was on every single morning. So that one felt a little bit more personal. I never felt like there was the full emotional resonance or connection with Rodgers that there was to Favre.
Absolutely
in
not.
the beloved nature.
It was the emotional. He wasn't cherished emotionally like Favre was, because a lot of people could relate to Favre in the way they felt they were, at least their perception, at least.
But it's also baked in that, when Favre came, he was part of the Renaissance after 30 years of stumbling around in the woods. Right?
And Giannis had that too. Giannis has that too. Yeah.
Giannis has that as well, because the Bucks were bad. The Bradley Center Bucks were mostly bad.
Yeah, that's why there's
that one oasis of the year that Armin can't forget with
1 year,
the big three and going to the Eastern Conference Finals. But other than that, they were mostly bad in the Bradley
That's
Center.
why if there's another great player, nothing will replace Giannis for most Bucks fans in that feeling. Like nothing's, but Giannis was different, and it'll always be that way. That's why people will feel that way about it.
Is it surprising to you as we go into hour number 2 that there's not another Brewer on this list since the Molitor Youts?
Molitor Yount. Well, here's the thing. Braun would be on that list for people, if not for a certain little incident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it wasn't for how excited I was to go to 8-12.
If you were of that age, and that was the zenith of Wisconsin sports, was when Braun and Rodgers were buddies and MVPs, and the Packers won the Super Bowl, and that was it, man. That was the time until Braun stepped in it.
And Yount turned out to be a greater stature of a player in general, on a Hall of Famer, first ballot, all that. Braun wasn't, but I still don't think it's because of the way people perceived Yount's personality was, and the way what he was about. They saw themselves in him, right? That quiet working class type thing, that he becomes so beloved. So I don't know that even Braun would have overtaken Yount in that regard.
He'd be in the discussion, I think, for the generation, for the people who grew up watching. A lot of this is how old are you?
Absolutely.
How old are you, and who was the biggest star when you were in the sweet spot between 8 and 13 of being a fan?
Sure.
Well, and that's where Robin Yount and Paul Molitor are not even in my zenith, right? They're not even in my conversation.
It just exists to you on documentaries.
But damn, do I remember how close Braun was to the absolute don of this state when I was on what I thought was date at Buffalo Wild Wings, looking up at the TV and seeing that scroll, Ryan Braun pop for steroids. What?
Not all that glitters is gold, just like your date, apparently.
Yeah. I definitely knew I didn't put my best foot forward after that news came through.
Indeed. We're off and running. Brooke Brighton's going to join us, talk a little weather. We got Dolph coming up. It is the Friday edition of the Huddle on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Friday edition rolling on. Drew, Billy, and Armin bringing it to you. Your little wake-up call on a Friday in the good land. You can call us, text us, 877-794-1973. Gets you into the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. We say hello to all of our smart, good-looking listeners on 920 in Milwaukee, 1070 in Madison, and of course, streaming on the on the YouTube, X, and Facebook until the jackbooted thugs take it down for a copyright violation of some kind.
Our lawyers are working on it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, we got lawyers.
Straighten it out.
Huge legal department.
Let's go.
It's like you see the other side of the building. You must not have been to that side of the building. There's like 23 guys.
I was just this morning.
In suits.
Oh, that was the other side of the building.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, you did. You did get here early to do. Well, I appreciate that. You were here working early.
I beat you over there, huh?
That's fine.
You turn that corner into that one area of the building that has the nice porcelain throne.
Yeah. Okay.
All of a sudden,
your little office.
I turn the corner and all of a sudden I see Armin about 10 feet away coming from the other direction. Just go, oh.
Well, I was going
to
the printer,
beeline around.
but I was going to stop there. But that's why you have multiple. It's the literal interpretation of that Simpsons meme. Where you're in and then you're out. You open it, someone's in, I'm out. That's fine. That's no problem. Because I had some Australian Open to watch, so we were good this morning.
There's breaking news. It's going to rock Armin. His foundation. You don't get a lot of breaking news.
Yeah,
before
no kidding.
6 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, lay it on me. Oh, okay.
Pause.
All right. What do we got here, Drew?
Dateline, Switzerland. Lindsey Vonn crashed in her final downhill before the Cortina Winter Olympics on Friday and was left limping and keeping weight off her left knee. Vonn lost control when landing a jump in a World Cup race and ended up tangled in the safety nets on the upper portion of the course. She eventually got up after receiving medical attention and walked away gingerly, taking weight off her left knee and using her poles to steady herself. She then clicked her skis back on, but stopped to check her left knee. She eventually made it to the finish area, limped into a tent for medical attention.
Yikes.
The race was later canceled after 3 of the first 6 racers crashed.
Wow.
Too much ice, maybe. Some of the, they have to have the right type of snow and ice.
What are they doing out there?
I don't know. But you got to give them credit because
it's a World Cup race. Yeah.
Not many, we're right before the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
How many times in other sports do you have a big competition where the top athletes are going to participate in before the Olympics? You got to give her credit for that. This stinks if she can't be in the. This would be
before terrible. She entered the tent. She had an anxious expression on her face. Her eyes were closed during a long embrace with teammate Jacqueline Wiles, who was leading the race when it was canceled. Lindsey Vonn is 41, has been the circuit's leading downhiller this season with 2 victories, 3 other podium finishes. She returned last season after a partial right knee titanium replacement.
Right.
Crash occurred exactly a week before the opening ceremony.
And we were just talking about great comebacks
in
yesterday.
Milan Cortina.
Yeah, and she was poised to be one of the big favorites in her event. So
her first Olympic race is February 8th.
Yeah,
the women's downhill.
So she has exactly
one week, 9 days, because it's the night, the morning of Super Bowl Sunday is when her race would have been.
She was also planning on competing in the Super G and the new team combined event at the games.
No, this is tough. I mean, famously, I remember in 96, Dominic Moceanu had a stress fracture in her knee and was able to recover like 2 weeks before in gymnastics. But there's a totally different situation. And she was like a lot younger, obviously. Yeah. And I saw Sha'Carri Richardson got popped for speeding in terms of, when you talk about Olympics breaking news.
Wait,
excessive speeding.
Going too fast? Running too fast?
No. Good one. Good one, Billy.
Sure.
Let's see here. 100 miles an hour in Orlando area. Not good. Not good.
Right, so
that's like 10 over in Florida.
Well, I mean,
I very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. But you go to Florida, I think you're going to find about 25 people going.
Yeah, so that's tough. I mean, for Lindsey Vonn though, she
was on the announce desk last year, and she was going to be one of the odds-on favorites to win this year. Incredible turnaround. And I heard I was kept up to speed with it by Tarico talking about it and how passionately he was mentioning and how excited he was to wake up in the middle of the night, the day that he's calling a Super Bowl, to go and watch her because, of who she was and how incredible the story would have been. It's a tough one.
Armin is also our tennis correspondent.
Oh, he's dialed in, dude.
Watching the Australian Open and the Alcaraz victory in the 5-hour semifinal.
Yeah, I'm just watching some tennis this morning.
Love it. The women's game for the grunts.
Watching tennis,
Billy.
Ooh. Yeah, a little live Aussie Open, obviously, down under.
So if the sound's ever up on my phone and my wife's like, what the hell are you watching? I'm going to go women's tennis. Women's tennis. It's women's tennis, honey. That's what all the grunting is.
I didn't know they hit the ball that quickly.
Here we go.
good.
That's the best one. That's for no match. I don't remember.
Armin, as our tennis correspondent,
Yes.
is Alcaraz, is he predisposed to take part in long matches?
Alcaraz does not do anything short or easy in terms of tennis. No, it's always a long match. It's always intense. It's always like a 5-set epic. And Zverev pushed him to the limit this morning as I was waking up getting in. I watched a little bit of the 5th set. So Carlos Alcaraz has won. He beat Zverev and advanced to the finals. And now we have Sinner and Novak Djokovic going right now in Melbourne. So
is Alcaraz, should we just buckle up and be ready for him being the next Joker, Federer, like for the next 15 years? He's just going to win all the time.
Well, him and Sinner, I think, will be both doing that. I think they could be the Federer and Nadal. Yeah.
Federer and Nadal. Yeah.
Now, Sinner has had his problems, though, with Alcaraz a little bit, but it's been back and forth. It's not one dominating the other.
I can hear it now, Billy. People are just waking up.
I know,
Shut up. No one cares about tennis.
Did I say that?
No, you didn't this time, which I appreciate.
Sorry. No, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that.
I'm looking for some sort of juicy angle or story for it, to get people's period interest going. That's why I play the grunts for you a little bit. But no, listen. Novak did take the second set. They're tied right now, and they're playing, and that's all you need to know about it.
I'll tell you this, though.
All you need to know.
When I was over at the Potawatomi Sportsbook yesterday talking to our friends Austin and Eric and Justin behind the book, they were saying the Australian Open has gotten people to the book where they were actually kind of surprised.
People like to bet
They were surprised people were going to come in the middle of the night, though, to watch said U.S. Open. And Austin's like, I thought I was just going to be hanging out here by myself.
Sure.
I kind of loosening up the tie. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, wait, never mind. There's people on the couches waiting for this.
I've told you and I've told him, I've mentioned this all the time. Tennis is the third most bet sport in the world. I don't know. I heard that once. All right. So I don't have official numbers on that.
You read it on the internet.
Yeah,
you can't lie on there.
But
everything's true.
If you like to do live betting, I mean, it's a great sport to do it because the matches are 4.5 hours and you have a lot of time. So,
that's true.
Yeah. And you can do the point. I think you can do the point by point betting like they do in baseball with the pitch by pitch.
Oh,
I haven't really tried, so I'm not 100%
That sounds like it's ripe for correction.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
It is.
Emmanuel Clase is just sitting there like the Spice Adams meme.
All one.
Okay.
Traditionally, tennis has been the easiest sport to corrupt because it's like one individual bad actor that's ranked 293rd on the Chinese Open or something can like throw a match or retire early. That happens a lot.
Well, there was some rumblings of some track and field stars over the last couple of days that were flagged for betting on teammates. And Drew, that's the one where you're like, wait a second. If all of a sudden you're sitting here knowing, like Pat Murphy said about me in the Open, oh geez, this man's been out all night. He's gonna be the third leg of our 4x4 relay team. Yeah, I might be looking somewhere else. I might be trying to get myself an edge or an angle somewhere else. Now, somebody said, who cares about tennis? Well, John cares about something else that's even more important. He said, Billy, Royal Rumble predictions. Yeah, the easy prediction is Brock Lesnar's in it. He's gonna win. I like Brock Lesnar's in anything. I'm picking Brock Lesnar, the guy with a sword tattoo right through his chest. That's going to be an easy pick for me, and I'll live with the results if all of a sudden I'm wrong.
Now, who's the guy that was grating the cheese on ESPN yesterday?
Seth Rollins.
I'm cheering against him.
Well, I don't know that he's going to be in it.
Oh, okay.
Because he is nursing himself back from an injury.
Oh, he's like a talking head now.
Well, he was the champion.
Okay.
Had to relinquish title because he had to go have surgery, I believe, on a knee or a shoulder. But his little group adopted Logan Paul. They said, wait, you're out? Get out of here. We got Logan Paul now. So who knows? Seth Rollins might come in and mess with Logan Paul and what they're calling the vision now. But we'll see. The vision will be blurry coming up tomorrow afternoon down in Riyadh.
Interesting submission from Janny and Appleton.
Come on, Janny.
We were referring to the blogger Dan Schaefer said that Giannis is the most beloved athlete in Wisconsin history. And that's his paradigm because he's a guy that's around 40 and, Bucks fan. And he thinks that he crested, like the zenith was the Bucks winning that title and breaking the 50-year drought and the whole thing with the Deer District, the 2021, when Giannis took us on that ride, carried the team to
He lives outside of the mural, sees it every morning probably.
So then we're saying
he's got a point though.
Is Giannis the most beloved athlete in Wisconsin sports history? And there's no answer to this, as we said, but Janny pointed out, does Bob Uecker count as the most loved athlete? I think he has to. If you agree with that, then there is no contest. I'm a baseball fan over everything. I miss him every day from February through October. By the way, I'm 72. Can figure out how to put my wake-up alarm on a schedule. Shanny,
I love that.
Shanny and Appleton. A great take.
That's amazing.
Supported his case and then got a zinger in on Armin for not being able to.
Emotional damage. You're the man, Jenny, the best.
Damage.
I would say, Bob Ueker's the most beloved figure. Athlete's different, but I said to Billy, and I think it's true. We've talked about this. It's the saddest day in the history of the state when Bob passed, and I don't think that's crazy to say. He's the most beloved figure, obviously. He was more than just an athlete. I mean, yeah, he played baseball, but he was much more more than an athlete.
A lot of people didn't even know he was an athlete.
Mm-hmm. You know? They remember him from catching the ball in the tuba in that picture, right? Before the World Series.
For wherever you caught on to the Uecker experience, though. I mean, his play, he transcended the field.
He was also so good at being self-deprecating and telling you about how bad of a player he was that nobody would have wanted to admit that he was a player. And then you actually look back and you're like, oh, he was actually a really good defensive catcher, somebody that teams needed at that particular point in baseball.
Won a World Series, yeah.
Yeah, but he does feel like a special exemption. This feels like you're trying to win the Bob Uecker most famous athlete in Wisconsin award. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Like the award's named after Uecker. You're trying to take this thing home.
Exactly.
And good luck.
He's in his own category. But Reggie White had and it's all cyclical. It's by era. It's the entire arc of the story. Like Reggie White, for a time, was that guy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely changed everything.
Absolutely beloved unconditionally, right? And then Favre was for a time and took a heel turn. Rodgers was, and then he went into the darkness retreat and all that. And got weird.
I'd give another one in that run would be what about Donald Driver? All-time production.
He's up there.
All-time Packer, being there his entire career, having some opportunities to go somewhere else after he was done playing with the Packers. But there was just so much talent at the wide receiver position. I think you and sometimes will forget about it. But Double D has all of the humanitarian parts that would add into this. Somebody that still chooses to be a part of the community, chooses to come back at a number of different times, buys into the community and puts his money where his mouth is into the state of Wisconsin. So I think Driver would be an interesting one. Again, for a group of my life, he was the dude.
You can compartmentalize this too. You can put Uecker in a special category. It's almost like a certain Hall of Fame ballot that we found out about. You have your founders category because like Bud Selig, Herb Cole, college roommates, they have to be on the Mount Rushmore, if you will, of the founders, right? And the guys who didn't play, and then Bob Harlan.
Bob Harlan would be there, yeah.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Is it a different category for founders and execs than GMs? Because you got to put Ron Wolf on there.
Probably.
Look at Ron Wolf now. Look at the Super Bowl. You got his proteges are going at it. His son Elliott and John Schneider, two of his proteges, going at it in the Super Bowl. Like, oh, there's your Packers angle to this, right? So he's in this mix of off the field guys. And as I've been thinking about it, by the way, the sun did rise in the East today.
It did. Yep.
Even though Bill Belichick's not going to make the Hall of Fame for a while. And the more I think about this, and I've been hearing the explanations from people who I thought he was going to get in, and I voted for the three players, right? How is it that Bill Belichick is in the same voting block as three guys who have been trying to get into the Hall for decades and like might fall off into the abyss and if they don't get in?
I think the senior coaches, contributors have done that for a long time.
I know, but it's like, first of all, like he shouldn't be LC Greenwood or Bill Belichick. Like it shouldn't have to come to that. They should have a different mechanism for coaches.
Yeah.
Plus, there's the whole 5-year thing that makes it even dumber, right? They went to 1 year.
But I get it. I understand the mechanics and I understand that there's reasons why we can walk ourselves around why we made the vote.
I got you, but it's a flawed system though. So let's look at the system.
But you're asked to work inside of the system. And I think it's a flawed process inside of the system. You can say the system's flawed, but your job is to execute inside of the system, not take my vote, tell everybody why I did what I didn't believe was right because, the system's bad. That to me, I don't understand.
Yeah, but again, like they're doing this math and it's part of the thing. It's like, okay, and I've had this with the Hall of Fame thing. I'm voting for this guy because I don't want him to fall off the ballot. And the other guy is going to get more than the necessary times, and you start to do the gymnastics.
And Drew, the further and further we come off of it, the more and more this bothers me more than anything else.
Interesting.
At some point, if you're that far falling off of the ballot, you might not be a Hall of Famer. And I know that sounds really mean. I know that's terrible to say. You might not be a Hall of Famer. Everybody else on the Steel Curtain might be Hall of Famers.
Well, right. I agree with you, Billy.
The other great quarterbacks in the 80s might be Hall of Famers. You just might not be.
But it's your ballot. And if you are passionate that person who's going to get your precious vote is a Hall of Famer, why should you cede that just because the other people don't agree with you?
That's not the answer that we're hearing. It's not, I don't believe Bill Belichick is better than all of these other candidates. It's that I don't agree with why they're making me choose between these. So I'm going to protest this with my ballot to tell everybody why I'm right.
For another guy, too. I mean, that's part of it.
This is favoritism?
No, I'm saying they're doing favors to like the Todd Marinovich. Who was it? I'm sorry, I'm blanking now. The quarterback, Ken Anderson.
Ken Anderson.
If he's not a Hall of Famer, he's not a Hall of Famer. I don't know why I thought Todd Marinovich. I'm saying that's the favor. It felt like the people that are arguing, well, he was going to get in anyway.
Okay.
But other guys, I have to vote for these other guys to get them in before they run out of time.
Bill Belichick had been on the ballot with Jerry Kramer, I can't vote for Jerry Kramer because Bill Belichick deserves it more. Bill Belichick's going to get in.
Well,
Jerry Kramer's
votes.
last rights.
You had three guys right there. You could have voted for Bill Belichick, Jerry Kramer, and one other one. And again, I understand he's our guy, so people won't like this. If you're not on the list for that long and you're not a Hall of Famer for that long, maybe there's a reason why people voted no for so long. And I know we don't like hearing that.
Maybe their logic is flawed.
But that's, I think more times than not, you're not a Hall of Famer.
Do what you can. Well, I mean, it took Jerry Kramer way too long to get in. Way too long.
But these are the debates.
And that's like, if you grew up watching the Steel Curtain, you're like, L.C. Greenwood is the Jerry Kramer of the Pittsburgh defense. Like, how's he not in already? All those other guys are in.
And that's what most people say.
But were those other guys better than him? Were those guys the reason why they were the Steel Curtain and L.C. Greenwood was the fourth guy on that group?
Not really. No, I mean, he was as good. I mean, that's like saying, well, is Jerry Kramer not a Hall of Famer because it took him so long? Like, no, he was that great. It was just,
but Drew, if you can't vote yes for 35 times, why on the 36th time is it a yes?
But what if you're on the ballot and on the committee and you vote for him every time? Like, don't you stay consistent?
Right, but that's not what we're hearing. That's not what this is. Yeah. These are different guys every single year that get brought up for the senior committee because these guys might not be on the ballot again next year. So it wasn't, I've been voting for this guy for 15 years.
I voted for him. I'm going to continue to roll through here. Now it's his last chance and I'm going to continue to vote for him. Like that's staying consistent.
Yeah. This to me just sounds like I totally disagree. And the more and more, the further and further we get away from it, the more and more it's really nice of us to do nice things for people. But if this is the Hall of Fame,
it just speaks to the flaw in the process. Make it yes, no.
I just enjoy that Billy's gatekeeping finally.
Yeah,
but is our job to use our ballot to bitch about the system? No, it's to vote for who's in the Hall of Fame.
It's to vote for who you think should be in the Hall of Fame.
And the only explanation, again, and this is where I disagree with the point, but I respect the guy in Kansas City so much for at least putting his name on this is why I did it. I totally disagree with it.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you admitting and saying, this is why I did it. I might be wrong. And I think he even admitted in there, like, given the opportunity to do it over, I would have done it differently. But this is the way it went. Your job is not to manipulate or make a damnation about the system. It's to vote 3 of those 5 guys.
This is why I knew we wouldn't be happy hearing an explanation from people.
Exactly.
This is my point.
Why? Because
it's just making you more mad,
the popcorn meme.
We should never hear from these guys.
I'm eating the popcorn.
This is so weak.
Watching it because
that is so weak.
This is so much more of a travesty, though, and kind of an embarrassment than the one guy that didn't vote for Jeter or for Ichiro.
Way more.
It's way bigger of a problem.
I agree with that.
I always say if we had an election and we polled 435 people, we'd get 35 people who say today's not Friday. Like, it's just how it is.
Yeah, well, and Maggie, so Leroy shouldn't have been a Hall of Famer. No, Leroy didn't go to the senior committee. Leroy was on the ballot for, I think he was 6 years and continued to elevate each time. That's a part of it. And again, if the system is just yes or no, then the whole thing gets thrown out. But if it's these are the 5 guys. Out of these 3, you need to pick 3 of these 5. One of them is the greatest coach of all time. One of them's a one-time MVP. To me, that answer is pretty easy.
I would have voted for Bill, obviously, in that situation. Yeah.
Yeah, you think you would have? But you don't know.
But everyone's going to have a different vote.
Exactly.
No, and we won't know because these guys won't, no one else will get an opportunity.
It's very much like the other discussion that's spinning today is like, is Giannis the most beloved athlete of all time? Well, if you think he is, then he is. But is he?
See, but this one, everyone gets an opinion. The one that we're talking about, again, only 50 get an opinion.
They earn that right. They
only
earn that
50
right.
people's opinion matters.
Only 50 get a vote. Only 50 get a vote.
But it's the same thing. Everybody's got an opinion.
But they are taking their own opinion as to what their job is away from what the duty is.
We're just seeing that because as there are, if you had to pick 3 of the most beloved athletes, a lot of people are leaving Giannis off their ballot.
That's true, and that's silly to me.
There
but
you go.
Some
That's
people will do
silly to
it because they say I don't care about basketball.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
But that is totally different. This is one singular deal.
We're just comparing. It's a comparison.
It's
it is different.
Thing.
Yes,
it's different, but it's very similar.
It is different, but there's no full equivalency billing everything. I mean,
yeah, everybody's got their own set of Bill Belichick will get his gold jacket. Now Robert Kraft. Will he go in with Robert Kraft?
That'll be interesting to see.
Hilarious, yes.
The real problem is Mike Holmgren is still waiting.
And if it was Bill Belichick or Mike Holmgren and Holmgren was going to go back into the abyss, I'd vote for Holmgren before Belichick because he deserves to get in.
And that would be wrong.
But one of them is the better one. To be a Hall of Famer. But again, like if Holmgren doesn't get in right now, he's never going in. I'm voting for Holmgren because he deserves it. Belichick will get in eventually, obviously, but
so that's not the job,
right
though.
Wrong.
But is that the job?
I think people interpret it differently.
Your job is to vote the way you want to vote.
Right.
That's the job.
That's the thing.
Your job is to select who should go to the Hall of Fame from this group.
But it's by your standard. It's you're the arbiter. Like judges make decisions in cases. Is it right or wrong? Like they make the decision. They make the ruling.
This is again.
You have to do it.
This is again why you should have to explain it. This is why, if it's that easy, please explain it.
You could be required to give it.
It's not that you don't think it's fair. It's that you don't want people to be mad at people because they don't agree with what their opinion is.
It's not true. You could. It's like the Supreme Court. You could require that they give an explanation. What's the term? I don't know what the term is. Where they give a writing about it.
They do a dissent.
But it won't make you happier to hear. If your family gets murdered and you go to the stand and you ask the murderer, I need to know why you did it. There's no answer that will make you happier. You can't make sense of the senseless if you don't agree with what happened.
But you have to be able to validate your statement.
Right, but it won't. My point is, it won't matter. It won't make people feel better or make a difference.
Then why does any of it matter? If what you're saying, just because I won't, because you won't agree with what I'm saying, it doesn't matter.
No,
I'm not going to do the work for it.
I'm saying people have the right to vote, and they're going to vote where they want. You can require an explanation, but it's not going to be like,
if you don't agree with the vote, you're not going to agree with the explanation.
I agree with what he's saying. Exactly. It's going to make you. It won't make you feel better.
Armin just had his.
That's you telling me how I will feel. Yeah. When somebody puts their opinion about it.
You said you're more mad today.
But again, I respect so much more as to that individual for why he did it.
Okay. I mean,
there's a difference between disagreeing and respecting. I don't respect the other 9 or 10 or 11 that did not vote for Belichick because they have not said why.
And here's the other thing.
I will respect everybody that will, even though I can disagree with their statement.
The guy in Kansas City who you respect broke protocol because you're not supposed to talk about this until after you're supposed to.
I appreciate that he did.
There's supposed to be a news blackout, and we live in weird times. Armin just had another hallmark Arminism, though. You can't make sense of the senseless.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't think
let that slip by.
And I do.
When we come back, Dolph is going to be here. We are going to celebrate halftime, make our adjustments. Brooke Brighton's going to join us after Dolph slides.
That's going to be fun.
And we'll talk a little weather. We got some snow coming. Why has it been so flippin' cold? And we'll just catch up with our friend Brooke Brighton from Spectrum News 1. It's the Huddle on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. The Huddle welcomes our pal Scott Dolphin from the country station down the hall to our party. Drew, Billy, Armin. Hello, Dolph.
What's up, Drew?
You know, we're just chopping it up on a Friday here.
When you mentioned halftime, does it really sink into your brain that it's 6:30 in the morning and your show's half over already?
Yes.
Starting to resonate a little bit more, I think, slowly but surely.
You are our Uncrustable and orange slice as we get ready for the back end of the show.
Yeah, I love it.
And then slide down the back of the dinosaur at 8 a.m.
Grab one of those little 12-ounce Gatorades, and then you're off and running.
Oh yeah,
good to go. Absolutely,
that's awesome.
What's happening with you? We've been talking today about this blogger Dan Schaefer put into the universe that Giannis is the most beloved athlete in Wisconsin sports history, and it's like, well, there's no right answer to that. It's what you think, but it's fired up a debate.
I would think if you did a poll, it might be close, but at least the people that are alive today would probably pick somebody like Brett Favre or maybe Aaron Rodgers. I don't know because they
Reggie
were
White, yeah.
You know, and all three of those guys, people have opinions about them, not necessarily on the football field. So maybe it is Giannis. Now that I hear that.
Well, and then someone came in over the top, and it was like, well, Bob Uecker was an athlete, and Bob Uecker is the most beloved figure in Wisconsin history.
That's true. People forget
that becomes a tough one to be able to top.
So he's in a separate category. Like for years, we would have discussions and we would talk about like, okay, who's your favorite Packers player at the moment? And you can't say Favre or you can't say Rod. Like we'd have to have that caveat because that was the default, right? So it's like, who's your favorite player other than,
Yeah, well, right now it's probably Micah Parsons.
I was going to say now it's Micah Parsons. You have to do the potential caveat for in the middle there.
So Giannis is homegrown. We got to see him grow up. That story arc. It's been a Disney movie. It's been it's a movie. It's cinematic.
And everything you've heard about the guy, he's super nice. I've never met Giannis. Shannon, my partner on FM 106, did a freaking entire 3-hour remote with him at Pick and Save early in his career. She got to hang with him for 3 hours. My wife is an educator. For years, she worked summers at the Target in Bayview. Giannis would come in, chat with everybody, buy us things. This is when he was living down in St. Francis and the Bucks trained at the Cousins Center. One of my son's friend worked at the Culvers on 6th and Layton in Milwaukee. Giannis would come through the drive-thru and again, chatting everybody up, and everything you heard about the dude, he's just unbelievable. So, okay, you talked me into it. I'll vote for Giannis as my favorite athlete here in Wisconsin.
Most beloved. And then again, it's like it's subjective. There is no right answer or wrong answer. True. Who did you love the most?
Would Counts have had a chance if the Cubs thing wouldn't have happened a couple of years ago?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
He'd have been in the discussion.
Right? Yeah. Like, even though his best moments as a player were not with the Brewers, I think Wisconsin people still adopted, well, that was one of our guys winning titles. And he helped bring a little bit of the winning edge to those first teams that ended up getting into the dance.
And you think about, did you ever see was it a 30 for 30, the chicken runs at midnight?
Yes.
When he was at the Marlins.
Really good
story.
He was huge in that story. The 2001 Diamondbacks.
The Marlins thing, he was just right place, right time. He was a scrub on a team of guys that were making gajillions. Like he was driving a Toyota Tercel in a parking lot of Bentleys, right? He really was. He was a rookie.
Begging him to get a new car.
He was a rookie. Yeah, absolutely. And then, but the Diamondbacks thing, he was the part of the fabric of that team. Now, not as big a star as Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling, Luis Gonzalez, but he was in the mix and he was very popular on that team. And for years, I would tease Craig, like he could walk around Whitefish Bay and no one bugs him. He goes to a Starbucks in Scottsdale and he's going to get swarmed.
Yeah.
He was bigger there than here. But you're right, Billy, had he not left and if he had somehow magically gotten the Brewers to a World Series, like if they win in 2018, if they win Game 7,
totally different beast.
Big time.
Completely different.
Yeah, big time. Braun would have been in the conversation too.
That's what we were saying is for people of that generation, Braun would have been in the conversation if not for his little misstep.
Yeah, and even because he left, there was always going to be a hang up for it. But I think if Prince would have been able to continue to play, there would have been still more fondness of it. But how quickly his career ended up ending at the after he left Milwaukee made it difficult to really still remember how great he was with the Brewers. He was so dominant and so awesome for pear-shaped youths like myself. There was nobody else you wanted to be more like than Prince Fielder, just putting that bat on the shoulder, swinging harder than anyone I've ever seen.
Home run derby. That was a big deal.
Yeah, it
big
was
time.
Prince of Pop, but it is about the guy you are and how you connect, but it's also about then what you accomplish. It's a combination.
Well, and
Giannis hoisted the trophy, except for the Favre and Rodgers situation. None of these other guys actually won the world championship except for Giannis.
Great point. And you think about Prince, his kids, with the little uniforms on, running around. And
absolutely.
That was so much fun.
But, Haven,
but, you just don't hear much bad about Giannis. I mean, going to, was it Chick-fil-A in Pewaukee or wherever.
Oh,
he was.
famous.
The the Brookfield, yeah.
The Brookfield one,
yeah.
not 49, not 51.
Not 51, 50. Exactly.
I do believe the day that he ends up leaving, we are going to have to go get some chicken minis.
Gotcha.
Not only in
Yeah.
honor of Giannis, but just because they're so damn
They're
good.
really good.
They're
Yeah.
so
Every year.
good, man. Oh my god.
There's really
And-
nothing to not like about Giannis,
We
and
did.
the persistence of this story has annoyed people, and a lot of it's because of the media machine, and that kind of makes me resent it all because I think they feel a certain way about Giannis just because this story keeps popping up, and eventually, yes, he probably will leave, but this story's been going for 5 years.
It's been going so long that people are starting to get mad at Giannis
Right.
for not declaring "I want out" or just
say it with your chest.
I'm in, I'm out. He's been saying it like I want to be in, but I want to compete. It's like, well, we're not competing anytime in the near future. So therefore,
if he didn't leave, he'd be the exception to the rule. Is there anybody in modern day NBA that has played with the same team for their entire all the superstars?
Dirk and
There you
Steph
go.
are the only ones you
Dirk
can really
and Steph
think of.
are the ones.
And even Kobe said,
Put me in a
"Put
Bulls
uniform."
Yeah, at one point, he
Yeah.
never went.
He's the only guy I think that actually demanded a trade. It didn't happen, and then he finished his career happily with the team.
Wow.
That's true. Yeah, and so the thing is now Giannis at some point in some people's eyes he's already becoming the bad guy because it's starting to spin of like you're mad at the situation, now I'm going to be mad at him.
It's just the most passive aggressive trade request of all time. It's in that conversation, but I understand why he's doing it.
Staying in it for the kids right now.
Yes.
They're staying in it for the kids. No one wants to call a lawyer and serve papers.
Yeah, I mean, it gets ugly and it's inconvenient, but I get it. To me, I don't get angry. I just kind of get sad about the whole
Right.
thing.
That's how I
the
feel.
default setting is to be sad.
You
about
can be
this.
sad, and then all of a sudden you quickly have that frown turned upside down when you board that jet and go into some sunny weather this weekend.
Yeah. Going to the Dominican Republic. We've gone to the DR a lot on this Boots on the Beach trip with, as Drew likes to say, the country station down the hall. We take country music artists with us every year, usually up and comers that you may not know, but over the years, we had Luke Bryan on that trip, Eric Church. Luke Bryan does an event now for 4 days in Cancun called Crash My Playa, a play off his Crash My Party song. And it's turned into almost like a country thunder or crossroads.
Woodstock.
Yeah, in country music. And he'll tell you he got that idea by going on our trip back in 2008.
That's
I love it.
And he was coming across the surf in his freaking ATV, and he played 2 nights for us. And
So you guys get royalties.
we should.
And your chance to win Luke Bryan tickets is coming up after 7
That's
o'clock on the Huddle. Dolph,
baby.
safe travels. We'll miss you
thanks,
next
boys.
week because you're our halftime correspondent. We'll have
I
to
know.
find somebody else to check in. At
Our whole
halftime.
clock is going to be thrown off. It's
I
going to be
know.
like we miss our alarm every day.
Hey, if you need me to check in from the DR, just say the word.
Oh, giddy up.
That's dangerous. All right, we're calling off. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Yes, we will. Send you the link. When we come back, our pal Brooke Brighton is going to join us from Spectrum News 1. Talk weather, hoops, just life in general.
Her
Buckeyes.
dominating Armin Sarian on the block at the Brew City
Indeed.
Battle. I'm excited for that.
That's next. It's the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Continuing the huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin 920, Milwaukee 1070, Madison, worldwide on the iHeartRadio app, streaming live on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Drew, Billy, and Armin, special guest in our lounge right now.
Come on, now it gets a lot brighter, a lot warmer, a lot happier. Brooke Brighton of Spectrum News 1 joins us on the huddle. Brooke, huddle up, helmet's not a chair. Welcome in.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
We're getting after it on Friday. It's the end of the week. We're looking forward to it. And we're going to be driving home after 8 o'clock into lake effect snow. Can you tell us what we're looking at here?
Yeah, we are going to be seeing just a little bit of snow for areas mainly along the lakefront, minor accumulation around an inch or two. So there could be a few slick spots. Nothing too much of a concern, hopefully.
That's good.
Now, how happy are you to actually utilize 2 digits on the high part of the temperature for all of your models next week? Like, that's going to be a crazy difference.
Just talking about this weekend, highs in the 20s. I'm like, I'm going to spend all day outdoors the entire weekend. Just because
tropical.
Thinking back to last Friday, I mean, Milwaukee wind chill of 42 below zero. That's insane.
Crazy. It's crazy. And I always say we have the benefit of perspective in these coldest days. So even though 20 and 30 is cold, to us it feels tropical, and we've had to deal with what we dealt with last week. So there you go, guys. We're lucky. We're lucky to have to deal with this. Now, I have a question, Brooke, and this is like a big debate in my family. It's like, maybe this is a better question for like a car mechanic, but it's, should I get my car washed when it's under 32 degrees? And I don't know if you can answer that or not, but I know people probably come at you with all kinds of crazy questions like that. So is it too cold to get your car washed? Because everyone's like, when can I wash the salt off?
No, I totally get that. In my car too, I'm just itching to get a car wash, but I'm like, wait until it gets warmer. It's better to side on the cautious side and just wait till it gets a little bit warmer. You can wait. It'll be fine.
No one's judging them, right? Like, they're okay that you got a little bit of salt on the rims. It's all good.
Well, everyone's in the same boat. You're going to be fine.
But if you go to one of the full service places, like there is not far from the Megaplex next to the KFC, where they kind of dry the gaskets and they dry the inside of the doors and stuff, you kind of have to do that.
Oh, dang.
But what if I get my car washed and the car wash place is like 3 minutes from my house, and then I go to my heated underground garage? I should be okay, right?
That's what I thought, but you have to get there quick.
Exactly.
It's how the other half lives, Brooke. Yes. It's a nice deal.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say for most people. Yeah.
Okay, Brooke, the other question is, what are your favorite dumb people weather stunts? Because when it got so cold, I saw people taking the boiling water outside and throwing it up in the air. What are your favorite dumb things, stupid weather tricks that people do?
I think one of my favorite ones that's a little bit more unique is when you take a bowl of pasta and put the fork up, and then the pasta freezes, so it looks like the fork is levitating.
Yeah, but that's a lot of Barilla pasta I'm wasting. I mean, it's like $1.25.
You can still eat it. Just thaw it out.
I guess you're right. It's frozen. I guess you're right. What am I thinking?
I think it'll thaw in the microwave. I think it'll be okay.
Our buddy Adam Pavlak, who's the proprietor of Egg and Flour in Bayview and the pasta king of Milwaukee, he should do some of that for his ads and stuff. He should do that for some socials, like Egg and Flour.
That's a great idea, actually. Yeah.
So then we need it to be a deep freeze for a little longer so we can get that off the ground.
We can get more content in here.
Yeah, a little bit more content. But yeah, it is crazy.
Brooke, I got to ask, and listen, you probably get a lot of questions. The car question, probably not the craziest. How much engagement do you get on your, like, in the comment section? It's got to be a difficult place for you to go, especially when there's like snow or weather, because everyone's favorite thing is to say, well, this is just flat wrong. But generally speaking, I feel like sometimes your comments are the nicest, happiest place on earth. So it could be a little bit better from that turn. Do you frequent in there at all? You get into the comments, or do you just let that be and say, here's the forecast. Don't be mad at me if it's not exactly right.
I think it's a healthy mix. The notifications that I get for comments seem to be more positive. Like, thanks for the forecast. Thanks for keeping us safe. Thanks for the updates. But I do realize when it's this brutally cold, no one's going to be a fan of the forecast. I'm not even a fan of the forecast. I get it. So, it's a hit or miss during the winter months.
There's no smile and brush it off. That's good.
Yeah, and you got to, and you do a great job. No, there's no worse shoot the messenger situation than there is going after like the meteorologist for like the actual weather. Like, it's like, she doesn't push these clouds around up here.
I got to give you the flip side of that though, because my buddy Dan Needles, who I did a show with for years, who got me into doing some television weekly, he would get so mad at Mark Baden when it's 75 degrees out in May or something. People are, thanks for the nice weather, Mark. And Needles is like, no one thanks me when the Packers win a game. He had nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
Well, I think meteorologists probably 90% of the time make fun of for getting the forecast wrong. So that 10%, I'm glad to give a good forecast.
Do you ever retweet it when it's right? Be like, hey, just so you guys know, I got one here.
Receipts.
I got one
Well,
here.
and here's the thing. We are correct when we give a bad, an active forecast, a cold forecast. So that we're doing a great job. It's just maybe not the news that everyone wants to hear.
You need to strike the football more.
You guys do take a lot of unnecessary grief from the weather and stuff like that. And, Dan was always like, why does weather get so much time and I only have 2 minutes? What's the deal? Like, and he would bitch and moan. It's a little bit like a baseball team. Like you guys are kind of the relief pitchers. You're you're out in the bullpen. You have your own you're away from the newsroom in your own little weather center. But I will say, and Brooke, I have to say, and I say this to all my friends, like Mark Baden and Lindsay Slater and everybody who does this, you guys, people don't know that when you're doing that, you got your little clicker and you're doing your own graphics and there's no script, there's no prompter for weather people. And when I just marvel when we do have storm coverage, people are like, why are they on for 8 hours telling people that it's snowing outside? Or what's the deal? You're keeping people safe and you're doing it without a prompter. And like, I'm just like, tip my cap.
say how.
I'm just like, tip my cap because I've seen this in action. Like, this is amazing what they're doing. It's a little bit like our buddy Tim Van Voorn standing in a tunnel, grabbing random Packers players that most people don't even recognize and interviewing them. You guys do that stuff off the cuff. And I'm just like, you guys don't get enough credit for that part of it. The forecasting stuff aside, but the broadcasting to me is impressive.
I always give props to meteorologists and then to sports guys like you. I mean, you guys are ad-libbing for hours on end. So props to you guys as well.
Yeah, but it's not that
way
serious.
too nice. Way too nice. We just make jokes. Yeah.
Well, we would be doing this if the microphones weren't on, whereas you would not be like, exactly pointing to a map telling us.
True. That might look weird in public if I was just pointing randomly to things.
Yes.
So is there any long range that suggests we're going to be out of this cold snap soon? Like, I know this is like the peak, doldrums of the winter, but tell me we've got only a couple weeks left of this at least. Come on.
I guess brief good news, like the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, slightly above average.
I'll take it. Come
20s, even low 30s, and then we go back below average in the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. And it all determines if the groundhog sees a shadow or not on Monday.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, that stupid rat. Oh no, Brooke, don't get me started on him. Don't get me started on him. We do have to give you credit though, because we got introduced to your game at the Brew City Battle.
That's right.
A couple of years ago.
That's right.
And I don't know if you remember this adorable Armenian that I think you scored 4 or 5 straight baskets on.
Just give me buckets.
Just calling for the ball, the quick drop step and a hook, and Armin just palms up like I don't know what to do.
I can't guard you.
Is that what you're expecting for your Buckeyes coming up this weekend? Are you going to the game? What's your feeling as a graduate of the Ohio State University and the Buckeyes taking on the Badgers this weekend?
Well, first and foremost, I had so much fun with you guys way back when. How long ago was it? 3 years ago now?
Way too long.
Wow, that is crazy. I want to give props to my Lady Buckeyes for beating the Badgers last night.
That's true,
they
yes.
cover the spread too. But on tomorrow, it's going to be a good game. I really think it's going to be a close game. I do think since it's a home game for the Badgers, that might be the edge to who wins the game.
I love that Brooke knows the spread too.
Yeah, that was
wow.
amazing.
Brooke just became everyone's favorite weather person.
My was, and now she's elevated even.
Brooke knows ball.
Yeah, Brooke knows ball and lines. Game
That's what I'm
over.
saying.
Game over, Brooke. Sorry.
She gets up at the same time we do and is already at work. So
yeah, she might have screwed up. This was way too much that we definitely are going to ask again. We appreciate it, Brooke.
You're coming
Thank
back
you so
on,
much.
Brooke.
yes.
I always love being on here, guys. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Brooke. Have a great weekend.
You guys too.
All right. Brooke Brighton, Spectrum
awesome.
News 1. Yeah, it's your go-to for weather in Wisconsin and the Kansas City region as
and
well.
everywhere in between. And you need the information. She's got it. Go check out her socials as well for all the latest models.
Matt LePay joins us coming up at 7:30. It's the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. It's 7 a.m. Welcome into the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Drew, Billy, and Armin bringing it to you. Reach us on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line 877-794-1973. Let's go to the breaking news / tennis desk and ask Armin Sarian who's winning in the Australian Open semifinal.
Woo-hoo!
This is the men's. That's high pitch.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sabalenka
already
do?
played. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sabalenka already played. Wait. Okay. The men are playing.
Maybe if you grunted more, you would have been better.
I think that was definitely the problem, actually.
That sounds like Billy after chili night.
I wasn't what you'd call a hard hitter or a powerful player or a good player, but one time, all right, in my heyday, all right, I was a young 18-year-old lad in the Armenian Youth Federation Olympics, and I had the run of my life, and I was playing.
18-year-olds allowed to be in the youth tournament?
Yeah, you can be. Yes, yeah, actually, it's 17. Okay. You start at 17. You become a senior in the AYF. Well, this is a long story, but I had like the run of my life, and I was playing well. The one and only time in my life I broke strings as well in a racket, and I felt like I was somebody, man. I threw that thing aside. I got to get a new racket. I broke the strings. Like that's how hard I was hitting, and I found myself grunting involuntarily. I said, wow, this is what it's like when the real ones actually play well and play powerfully and hard. They actually grunt naturally.
Hold on. I just need a little bit more clarification here.
Then you'll get the update, but this is more important.
Let me just make sure here. So 18 years old in the Youth Federation.
Youth Federation.
Were you playing younger kids? And
older kids? No.
Oh,
yeah, you're up to 26 or 28, depending on the year it was. But yeah.
So the youth was a question for me, Drew. I was messed up on that. I hear 18 and I'm like, oh, Armin is now showing off grunting, hitting the ball harder because he's playing 14 and 15-year-olds. He's like, welcome to the men's league, boys.
Oh, you can read it.
This is how you do it once you turn 18, once you can start smoking cigarettes.
You can read about it in the Armenian Weekly, September 2001 edition, 3rd edition. Not that I memorized it or have it on the wall or anything. Not that I saved it or anything like that. You can read it in the paper on the Armenian Weekly, yeah. The youngster shocked the defending champion. That was about me. Now, anyway.
Defending champ.
I did.
He was sleeping on you.
Man, he was, man. He's like, who is this kid from Wisconsin? I don't know anything about this
Sarian, and he comes in and just double sets him.
I mixed him up too. He beat me in the first set. He was just dominating me on ground. So I'm going to the net. I'm a doubles player by nature. All right, I'm going to the net, and I ate him alive on that one. He was so frustrated. My man was starting to smoke his cig in the 3rd set. He's like, this thing's over. But we're getting a great match right here with Djokovic. Back to the news.
Yeah.
Back to the sports. Djokovic and Sinner are in the 3rd set now. So this has been a great match back and forth. I think Sinner's going to pull it off here, but Djokovic, that old wily veteran, he's bringing out all the stops here. So we might have another 5-setter here, guys, in the Australian Open men's semifinal, as Sinner has taken the 3rd set now, and Novak Djokovic is trying to force a 4th. But it looks like it's going to eventually be Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz in the final again, unless we see a big comeback by the great Novak Djokovic here.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thanks for the update.
It's 3-2 in the 4th set. Djokovic has a lead, so he could still force a 5th here. So
come on,
it's great to have live sports on during our show. We don't always get that.
That's true. Yeah. The Olympics will be live during
that will be, and I'll be giving you all the downhill slalom.
And the big story in the Olympics is Lindsey Vonn got hurt today.
Brutal news. Yeah,
she's been airlifted off the mountain. Apparently,
whoa.
She might have to visit our friends at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. The best in the industry.
Come on now.
But that's a horrifying thing. You're right. It's a week before she's getting ready to fire it up for real. Like Super Bowl Sunday was going to be her first race.
And again, 41 years old. She was on the broadcast last Winter Olympics next to Mike Tirico. He's calling the Super Bowl his first one, right? I think Al called the last one with NBC.
His first one, I believe. Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care. She was way too awesome, way too good of a person. And I'm also doing the Olympics coverage on the field at the Super Bowl after. I'm going to wake up in the middle of the night to watch. And now you don't know that she's going to be able to participate. This is the most I'll be into the Olympics, Drew, potentially in my entire life, because it'll be on while we're in here. That's true. I've never been around somebody that loves the Olympics more than Armin Sarian.
That's true.
Because maybe it is, I shouldn't say maybe, it is a personal fault of me. I have not enjoyed the Olympics enough, because I don't know enough about closing the one eye, pinning yourself back, and shooting a bow and arrow after, cross-country skiing. But I respect the absolute out of it. And the respect that I'm going to gain even more while I'm bleary-eyed waking up and doing the show to start, and these guys are well into their days out in Milan, it's going to be an exciting run.
And Armin is into both gymnastics and figure skating.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Summer Olympics and the Winter Olympics are different beasts. Obviously, Summer Olympics is like 3 or 4 times the sports, but the Winter Olympics is fun too, mostly because it gave us some of our great local moments ever in terms of being a Wisconsinite. Obviously, we talk about Bonnie and Dan Jansen and all the great speed skaters that train out in West Dallas at the Pettit. But they're both a lot of fun, and it should be an electric time.
Well, the Winter Olympics makes me think of, like, we've been talking today because, again, the Dan Schaefer post about the Giannis being the most beloved athlete in Wisconsin sports history created a lot of churn yesterday, and people weighing in, and we've been talking about that today. But I think I can make a case that the most perhaps underrated, underappreciated Wisconsin sports figure is going to be featured in a documentary that's coming out again about the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team, Mark Johnson.
Oh, very well true.
Eruzione and Jim Craig get all the flowers, but Mark Johnson was the MVP of that team in my humble estimation.
Yeah, and then what he has done after one of the best
incredible
American sports moments of all time, if not the most.
Yeah. And he was a key figure in that game, and like he was a rock on that team. He was the absolute stud. And, again, it's not that he's forgotten, but kind of like people do kind of overlook.
Overlook is the right way of putting it. Now, last year we got a little loud and continued it that, like, if they're going to do anything like monuments or statues or name anything after anybody at the University of Wisconsin after this, and obviously certain dollars and cents, quickly signs become put up of different names and things like that. If we do not put up a damn statue outside of either LeBron Arena or somewhere on in the athletic area in the athletic complex of Mark Johnson at the University of Wisconsin, you're missing out on a possibility to celebrate not only an American hero, but one of the best Badgers of all time.
Absolutely true. I mean, his levels of greatness in his life have been incredible. It's one thing to be part of one of the greatest and most celebrated teams in American sports history, but to be the guy that everyone looked to be the star to score when they needed a goal. That's why they called him Magic. I mean, when they needed a goal, Mark got it. And you actually look back at some of the games and how good he was and how many times he was actually the offense for that unit. It's a pretty amazing thing that his career was what it was, and he's ours. You know what I mean?
And
that's awesome.
Even just his on the ice thing is the one part.
Yeah.
But damn, like the moment that he has with the bench this past year trying to win the national title, he's like, all right, who wants it?
That's so legendary.
Like, what a legendary moment for a coach empowering players of, all right, I'm looking at every one of you. I want to know who actually wants the game-winning shot. Who wants the penalty shot to try to send us to OT? And listen, I think you only understand when you can make those calls, Drew, when you've looked into the eye and kind of you've been the person that wanted that shot. You see it in the look, the real look in somebody's eye when they're ready for that moment.
Amazing moment. No question about it. 877-794-1973 is the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. Share your thoughts on anything under the sun. It's the last hour of our last show of the week. And next week we'll be shifting because it's Super Bowl week. We'll be wondering, is Drake May's injury a concern? Is what's going on? We'll be sifting through that, looking forward to Super Bowl snack foods and all that stuff that comes with Super Bowl week.
Props.
But the Giannis thing is going to hang over this.
It'll be hanging there.
We'll be wondering, like, will there be resolution? Will there be smoke from the chimney out of Fiserv Forum? Will we get a decision? Will Giannis be traded? Has he played his last game as a Buck?
That I don't think so, because I think the show is still pretty uniform on that it happens in the offseason. But the closer we get, we always say deadline spur action. The deadline of Steph Curry being 38 years old and Jimmy Butler now being out for the entire year. Yeah. Like, I still don't know what Golden State can give you that's somewhat appetizing. But the February 5th deadline.
Don't they have picks? Don't they have some picks?
They only have a couple because they traded a decent amount, I think, for Butler. They're like, they can open up all these levies of picks. And you don't think of the 2028 30 pick as valuable, but Steph will be out of the league by then. Giannis could be on his third team by then. And maybe that 2030 Warriors pick is very valuable.
Butler's contract, Kuminga, and picks, and Brandon Pajemski.
Well, you got to get a Wisconsin kid.
You got to get one.
Everybody says Pajemski or Hero or Jalen Johnson. Like, somebody's got to come back from Wisconsin that we can bond with.
But I can hear people saying right now, and I get it. It's like that's it. That's all we're gonna get for Giannis when Bridges got 5 picks and Bane gets 4. Look, but we're just not gonna get those type of. I don't know if we'll get that, but I don't think we'll get those type of deals anymore. I think that's just the reality of it.
Yeah, those are gone. I think.
I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, if you just use those as straight market comp, we should probably get 10 or 15 first for Giannis, but we're not going to get that.
But the market comp's not the same because those guys had 4 years of guaranteed money on their contract.
So how much for the contract? Would he sign a contract and all that?
Here's the thing: if you are tired, if you have Giannis trade talk fatigue and he's not dealt on Thursday, by the deadline, we're going to relive this in the summer, and then if he starts the season with the Bucks, we're going to relive this a year from now at the deadline, and it's not going to go away if he stays.
No, and that's where I think I've now become more excited about the possibilities going forward. Like Aaron in Carolina is excited here on the Talking Text. Like he's been beating the drum for a while. Like the best place and the only way for them to go forward is by trading him. I think I've now seen too much evidence, Drew, that they can't do anything even if he is at their best. If you get the best level of Giannis play coming out here after his second shutdown of a calf injury for a season, what's the best they do? They win the first play-in game.
Yeah.
Like they win the 9-10 play-in game, maybe. But like they're a 5-game gentleman's sweep at best, it looks like, they're in any playoff series.
10 games under 500. They're abysmal without Giannis because they've constructed a team where without him, they're abysmal.
Yeah.
And it's as you look at it now, if he's not traded, my idea of the gap year, just go to Greece, get healthy. We don't need you this year, is like that becomes, he didn't want to do that. But maybe if he's not traded, like, what's the point of coming back? We suck and we're not going to go anywhere. Like, just take some time off.
Take some time off and he'll get ready. And it would probably be a get ready for a new team deal.
He was at the Peter Fagan event yesterday, smiling and enjoying his time with the guy because, their paths, their stories intersect.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating deal. It's a pivot point for the franchise. And you're right, Armin, it's like the return coming back will be scrutinized forever. You can't get value. You can't win a trade for Giannis. Like even if you trade him away and he goes to his next team and has blows out his ACL or something, or like you still don't win the trade because you're losing something elemental.
You're losing a natural resource you'll never have again.
You're losing like the rain.
But that's the reality, is it will end sometime. So that's why I think there are some like me that are drawn to the instinct to hang on to it as long as you possibly can.
Well, and that would portend then, trying to, and then again, like what?
Not saying that's best for the future. No, but sometimes you make decisions for yourself that aren't good for the future.
But I think you can say now that it's not even good for the present.
No, but here's the thing.
Like, their team is not good at all.
Well, right now, because he's not playing. Yeah.
But even with him, they were at best 500.
500 with him.
With him, they played 500. Without him, I think they're 3-14. Yeah. 3-13 or something like that.
Worse without him.
And they've lost to the Wizards 3 times in a season.
And they've lost 6 of their last 7. After winning 3 of 4 and getting all the wind in your sails there with the Amick report, leaving Los Angeles with a win where Giannis shuts down LeBron twice in the final sequence. Big stuff and a poke away, Drew, to be able to seal the victory in Los Angeles. That was the high point. That was our 21-3 lead here for the 25-26 Bucks.
I thought that might be a moment they turned it around. I'm always hoping and optimistic about it. It clearly wasn't. Or even the start, the start to this year was really encouraging. They won some games, but then, Torian gets hurt and things like just bad things started happening. Obviously, then Giannis. So, yeah, you're right. That was probably the peak, Billy, and it's been downhill since.
It is difficult when trying to compare the package that you'll receive apples to apples with like Desmond Bane. We keep bringing up Bridges with the picks like that.
Yep.
Drew, do you think it's almost like the Wilson Rodgers deal? Because immediately after Aaron stays in 22, people look at, Denver gave up 3 first-round picks for Russell Wilson. So what would we have gotten for Aaron Rodgers if that was the trade? Now, coincidentally, Seattle's in the Super Bowl already. Like they have been able to rebuild with a lot of high picks, a lot of really, really good young players. You like Devin Witherspoon making that final breakup in the end zone. He was a top pick that they got in one of those first rounds. Like they rebuilt their team very quickly. I still don't. Rodgers so far and away a better player than Russell Wilson. That's not even debatable. But the point in their careers, the timing, yeah, even Rodgers was better than Russell Wilson at the moment, but one was 33. You still thought had like 7 to 10 years of really, really good football in him. And the other was going to be 40 and might have just played his last playoff game where they score one touchdown. And the times in their careers, the age, the contracts, that all adds in where it's just I don't know that you can easily say, well, that was the package he got. We got to get that times 2 or times 3.
Yeah. If the Seahawks win and right the wrong from the Malcolm Butler game, if they win, does Russell Wilson get a ring because he brought the picks that helped them win?
He's gonna take
2
some credit.
seconds, a fifth, and a couple of players.
He's gonna be trying to take some credit for that bad boy once that happens.
I was gonna say, like, we couldn't have done it without you, Russ.
Couldn't have done it without the trade. Couldn't have done it without the trade. And it is a moment where you think, wow, I guess it worked. It definitely worked. Now, it also worked because they got Sam Darnold after he wins 14 games with the Vikings, and the Vikings decided to punt on him. But
yeah, I don't know if that's the reason. Yeah, Darnold is. Like, I don't know if Russell's thing is the reason. You have to make moves that work, and the Darnold thing obviously did.
But the moves you make subsequently with all the assets from the Russell Wilson trade is why that gets brought up.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, they got 6 starters from the trade.
Right.
Yeah.
So like that would be the part of it. So that's a core of the team that they're
Someone sent us, speaking of Darnold, someone sent us, and it'll come up more next week, but someone sent us the wrap up of his grandfather and the lineage. His grandfather played college basketball at USC like in the 50s and then shifted gears and became an Olympic volleyball player.
Nice. That's an interesting shift.
Then became like a firefighter and was on, like, played himself on the show Emergency, which was a big show in the 70s about the
EMTs and
the
stuff.
EMTs and the hospital people in California. And then he became one of the original Marlboro men.
Jeez Louise.
Like,
those guys all
this guy's grandfather's one of the, he's like 10 of the most interesting people
Yeah,
in the
last
last century.
Is he the Dos Equis guy?
Those guys all live more interesting lives than we did in those eras.
Unreal.
They did more at younger ages than we did. If you start looking up Wikipedias through historical figures, it just in general. I mean, obviously, Marv Levy's a great example. You look up what Marv Levy's life was like. It was absolutely incredible. All these people did more things than we did. They had more interesting things.
Sam Darnold's grandfather, I didn't even know the story until we got this YouTube, but he didn't have to spend 5 hours a day doom scrolling.
He didn't have to deal with that.
A lot of more time to do stuff and be productive.
They were busy actually doing things with their lives.
It was a lot easier to be productive when you weren't sitting there watching Get Ready With Me videos on TikTok.
Yeah, ordering DoorDash and stuff like that.
We were diving through Kurt Signetti's lifeline yesterday and his Wikipedia page. We want to talk about some interesting folks that he backed up. Oliver Luck, who ended up being the commissioner of the UFL for a long time. There was also a Hall of Fame quarterback that was in there that he backed up. His brother, by the way, was the last quarterback coach Aaron Rodgers ever had in Green Bay.
That's right.
When Frank Signetti Jr. was brought in by Mike McCarthy. Hilarious when you can intertwine all of those different parts of the web.
Amazing. Hey, Statman Steve's got one for us.
On,
the last time the Bucks were 500 was November 20th when they were 8-8. They've gone 10-20 since.
Oh.
Ouch.
And the crazy thing is, it actually feels like they've played worse than that. Like, collectively, I think it feels like they've almost played worse than that for some of the games that they've caught L's in.
Yep.
Completely wiped off that Lakers win that I was so
excited about. Yep, exactly. I was excited about the Badgers persevering against Minnesota. Big game coming up tomorrow against Ohio State against Brooke Brighton's Buckeyes. Our buddy Matt LePay, the voice of the Badgers, is going to join us next. And then after that, we got tickets for Luke Bryan, September 26th, our last pair to see the show at Alpine Valley. Give you something to look forward to at the end of summer. Your last chance to win with us. Stay tuned. It's The Huddle on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Coming into the home stretch, the Friday edition of the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin, 920 Milwaukee, 1070 in Madison, worldwide on the iHeartRadio app. Drew, Billy, and Armin, happy to be joined by the voice of the Badgers, Matt LePay. Matt, thank you for joining us. We've been dying to talk to you ever since that second half comeback, that 50 burger that the Badgers put up against Minnesota. Very remarkable.
Yeah, much better than the 17-point first half that they poured on the Gophers. This team, guys, I probably said this more than once. A great Bart has said it more than once. Their best is really good. Their worst is really bad. And you got to see all of that in 2 hours on Wednesday night. I mean, Minnesota, just to its credit, it's shorthanded, including not having its leading scorer. 20 points per game were unavailable with Cade Tyson being out. And they took it to Wisconsin in the first half. But fortunately for the Badgers, they whatever Greg Gard said, or maybe they just talked to themselves and said, we got to be a little better than this. And it turned into quite a game.
Those halftime adjustments sure worked.
Exactly.
I tell people things can change, not only from game to game or half to half now. So there you go. Or even from media timeout to media timeout. Hey, progress isn't linear. So just hang on. Maybe things will change.
What was the flight like from Madison to Minneapolis for Nico? Like what was the
Oh,
my gosh.
I mean, we should have beat him at our place. We just
Again.
lost this game. You got to be kidding me.
well, if I'm him, I'm saving that name card where they misspelled his name. It's Niko, not Nico, and that's what got him a little joking, but not really joking. So I'd hang on to that for motivational purposes. They've had a lot of gut punch losses. Obviously, 2 of them to Wisconsin. They lost by a point to USC. They've had a couple other games that they were right there, but it's just one of those years where they've had a lot of injuries. They lost 2 guys for the year earlier in the season, and then they had 9 available players on Wednesday night. 7 were on scholarship. So I know it's a different world now. They're probably all getting a little something for the effort with NIL and all that stuff. But it's just one of those tough seasons for them. I think, though, with the way they've played, with the lack of available bodies, I mean, this guy's good. He's carved a pretty good niche for himself, had a good run at Colorado State. He's a University of Minnesota graduate. When he gets something that resembles a full deck, I think they're going to be a problem. I do. I mean, you never know year to year now. It's like the NBA or the NFL. Like, it's not game. It's a year to year deal, not knowing what your roster is going to look like. But I think they've got the right guy up there. So if you're a Badger fan, enjoy the win. But I'd go easy on the chirping.
No, it's going to be interesting.
Pretty good rivalry.
Yeah, no doubt.
He and Dusty May are the guys that kind of look like they have it figured out.
They're figuring it out. And you could see Nico in the handshake line. Greg was ready to give him he's like, Greg, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Don't want to hear it right now, right? I'm good. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you very much. They were hard-fought battles. But that is tough, right? Like, I think that's a tough place to win, football or basketball. There's so much going on. It's a huge city. It's an awesome campus, great school. But, that's got to be a difficult place to be able to win unless you have institutional knowledge of it. And I think, Matt, again, maybe it's one time it works out, so everybody's going to go over onto the other side of, we got to grab somebody that was a graduate, that has a vested interest in the university. But for a school that kind of feels like you need to build something up, it does appear, and I always feel like it helps to have somebody that has real institutional knowledge of not only the good things about the school, but maybe the drawbacks and the things that you're going to have to really work around to be successful.
Yeah, I think Minnesota, I think Wisconsin to an extent is one of those. You've got Greg Gard, you've got Mark Johnson. You don't always have that. I mean, Kelly Sheffield, the volleyball coach, came from somewhere else. The football staff obviously has very limited Wisconsin background. Casey Robach, the assistant offensive line coach, and the great John Richter, the director of operations, who's maybe the
all juice team.
He's probably the smartest guy. He's the smartest guy in the stadium, and he's all like 25, 26 years old. But yeah, I think for a place like Minnesota, it does make sense. And Billy, you bring up an interesting point, because I was talking about this earlier in the week with a couple of people. It is, I mean, Minnesota is a pretty good sized city. I mean, your team could be playing, and you could have the Wild, playing that same night over in St. Paul. You could have the Wolves playing, just down the road. So it's more of a pro town. But I do think I've seen it. It's been a while. but I've seen it when Gophers basketball is rolling, and really you have to go back to Clem Haskins. That place could be deafening. I mean, your ears are ringing leaving Williams Arena. And, when PJ Fleck has had some of his better teams and having more of their showcase games, they'll get into it. But I think you have to do the winning first, because you do have a lot of options in the Twin Cities.
What was the conversation like at halftime between you and Butchie and Lev when you saw a 18% shooting performance? Like, oh God.
Gallows humor with him, because Lev's working with Sean Morris, who's one of the funniest dudes. He's been on BTN forever. He was a really good player at Northwestern, back, I guess, in the 80s. But it was a lot of Gallows humor. It was like, he missed, he fell down. It's halftime. They have 17 points. One of those. And it's like, we have these conversations a lot, and I've had them with coaches. Like, don't you wish you could just say what you really wanted to say? I said, yeah, if we know it's our last one, I guess you just go ahead and let it rip. But the weird part is I've seen movies pretty similar to this with Wisconsin basketball, where the first half they just stink it up. And then I've seen it with Bo, I've seen it with some of Dick Bennett's teams, and now and then with Greg Gard. So, was I shocked that they came back to win it? I can't say that I was, but it was a little eye-popping. We were all reminded that is the largest comeback in the second half in program history. That
surprised me.
Yeah, 18 points. But I guess it's just proof positive that hardly any lead is safe or hardly any deficit is hopeless. So they did prove that to be true.
Well, I think it's instructive of a couple things. A, the kind of, schizophrenic nature of this team specifically, but also basketball and college basketball now is so much predicated on 3-point variance, right? Where it can go extreme one way and extreme the other way if you're hitting or not hitting. And I think fans will underestimate how crucial of a comeback this was if we, come Selection Sunday time, find the Badgers somewhat near the bubble, because that would have been a kind of a painful loss in terms of the metrics. And I know I can already feel Billy rolling his eyes about Selection Sunday talk in January. But if you look at the bracketology,
I don't, but I'm glad you do.
In the 10 or 9 seed right now, I'm looking at it. That was not a loss you wanted to sustain. So coming back and avoiding that rake might turn out to be very crucial in 6 weeks.
You are exactly right, Armin. You don't want a loss like that, especially at home. And as Billy knows, tomorrow is a quad 2 opportunity.
Yes, he's writing the stuff down.
Yeah, and there will be some quad. Yes, there will be some quad 1s coming up with Indiana and Illinois, and those are the kind of games that you really want to get tomorrow as well. Ohio State's in a similar situation. They're a notch behind Wisconsin in the Big Ten standings, but they're in that kind of second tier right now. I think Wisconsin is at the top of tier 2. You obviously have Michigan State, and Nebraska and Illinois. I know Purdue is scuffling, but I'd still have them in that top group. And then Wisconsin is next in line with UCLA and Ohio State, Iowa. So this is a really big game for Ohio State. It's a quad 1 chance, Billy, as you know, for the Buckeyes tomorrow.
Yes.
Based on how they figure all that stuff. I have to look at my little cheat sheet all the time. Is this a quad 1, a quad 2? But it's an important
blackjack book.
Yeah.
Whatever the dealer's facing up. All right, sweet. Now it's a 2 for 1. All right, now we got to go to 1 opportunity here. I look at the number, and again, batting average guy, maybe it is in baseball, but I look at the number in front of the name. And you mentioned the important ones coming up of Illinois, Michigan State, but that trip to Indiana, and I don't know if they can just bring out Signetti every single time and ignite that place differently, but that's always been a tough place to play. So it does feel like a tough win to get, week off, and then a really difficult portion of the schedule fires up.
Yeah, tomorrow is huge, and then I think it's really huge for these guys to get away for a couple days too, because the push begins when it starts up again. It's going to take them to the end of the season, whenever that is. They only have 2 home games in February. That is notable. But they'll only have 3 home games left, period, after tomorrow. So tomorrow starts the second half of the Big Ten portion of the schedule. But yeah, they've got a lot of, you could say, opportunities, really big opportunities to improve the resume. As we sit right now, is this kind of like power rankings when you have like bracketology going on right now?
Sort of, it is.
Like right now, they're you would think that they're safely in or relatively safely in, but they know they have a lot of work to do to remove the word safely and just get themselves in. And they just want to play better and at a consistent level. They've won 6 out of 7. That cannot be ignored here. I mean, for the most part, they're playing at 6-7. Yeah, I did that, didn't I?
Sorry, I couldn't help myself, man.
Yeah.
You've been hanging out with Butchie way too often. He's hitting that 6-7 in the den all the time. It's
yeah, he is. And that I didn't even mean to do that. That's just the world we're in. So when in doubt, blame Butch.
But avoiding bad losses is as important as getting big ones sometimes when you're building a tournament profile. So
yeah, but Armin, your logic is not flawed on the Minnesota game, but it was compounded because of the one blemish in this recent run, the USC game.
Absolutely. So you had to kind of repair that.
So that was the thing. That's the one that got away now. It would have been catastrophic to lose against Minnesota after that, because then you're digging out of a hole going into a tough stretch of schedule.
Yeah, and USC had one that it could have, should have, and didn't. Lost by 1 to Iowa on Wednesday night. So they're just good enough, as Wisconsin saw firsthand. I mean, they've got 26-year-old Chad Baker Mazzara. When he goes off, which he did, and he's done a few times, including against Wisconsin. I mean, they're a talented team. I don't know, being around them all season long, that might be interesting, but they are a talented group, and that's even without Gilbert Arenas' son, who really hasn't played enough to have a chance to live up to all the hype, because he is a very, very gifted player.
All right, Matt, you ready to take a real quick stroll with me into September as we gallivant up to the press box, the 7th floor at Lambeau Field on a Sunday of Labor Day weekend, when CJ Carr on the other side, I don't know, maybe throws 2-3 picks. Colton Joseph throws 2 touchdowns, runs for 2. And all of a sudden, with this Badger schedule, we had Hot Take Hump Day on Wednesday. Now, I did cushion it with the fact of, could I see 4-8 again? Sadly, you can't not, right? Like, you can always see bad stuff. But Matt, I really struggle to look at this schedule and not see 8 or 9 wins. Like, it is difficult for me to look at this schedule and not see a lot of opportunities for Badger football, especially you take advantage of Marcus Freeman with all this NFL conversation. How on earth can he be focused in 9 months on this game at Lambeau Field? You get that one. You beat up on the MAC teams, and then you spoil Matt Campbell's first game in the Big Ten. There's some big tipping points in this football schedule, and the first 2 Big Ten games are so exciting to watch because you got first-time head coaches in the Big Ten in their first 3 Big Ten games, with Penn State, well, Michigan State, obviously Fitzgerald's been in the Big Ten, but new coach at a new school, and then the new coach at UCLA. Very interesting run for Wisconsin football.
Yeah, and I would think really important for this program to get off to a good start. You know, I'd love to say, Billy, that the schedule opens up for them, and when you don't play Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, you think that's the case. But let's look at the flip side. Those opponents are saying, oh, we got Wisconsin on the schedule.
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
What have they done lately? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, and not knowing what the rosters are really going to look like. You know, we know that, well, we're getting familiar with the names. I'd be lying if I said I knew all the names of the newcomers for Wisconsin. But and you know, you're going to see the weightlifting videos on social media, which, like, whatever. I think everybody just waits. All college football teams
more squat fest coming up.
January, February. Yes, all that. That's great, but I don't really care. And in spring ball, you're going to take a look at some guys. Go, oh, okay, I see what they're talking about. We're not going to know until September. It seems as though, and when you hear Luke Fickell talk in different media interviews, they look like they got their A-list guys, you know, the people who they had most targeted because they have more resources with which to do it. So that's good. So we'll find out together about their, you know, how effective they are in evaluating and then coaching when they get here, because it is a lot of new faces. And you know, part of it is great to play Notre Dame right away, and part of it is like, would you rather have a bye game first? But it does. I would think from an off-season perspective, I've heard this before through the years when they occasionally have a big game to start the year. It helps. It helps in those days where you don't really feel like getting up at 6 a.m. to hit the weight room. Oh, you're playing Notre Dame? Okay, yeah, we'll be there. So I'm pumping the brakes on the hype train with these guys. I'm intrigued with Colton Joseph, like any other Badger fan probably would be, but the offensive line is going to look a lot different. I think the running backs, there's some intrigue there.
Big time.
But I'm just like, okay, let's see these guys run around a little bit in the spring, and then most importantly in the fall. So sorry, man. I mean, I think Penn State's going to be really good. I think Michigan State's good. So
yeah.
Sorry, I
tough
can't.
Tough thing is once we get into fall, Matt, that 8 to 9 wins very quickly becomes 10. Very, very quickly. Once I start seeing these pads clash, very quickly becomes 10 games. And you better watch out.
Playoff talk, going like on the edge in the conversation.
Listen, I don't know. I don't know if Joel Klatt gets his way. We're going to get 6 teams in the Big Ten battling it out. So you might be in one of those playoff play-in games. Just might happen.
Oh my God! It was fun when they played LSU early. That was a good time.
That was a good time in Lambeau Field.
Let's run it back. Awesome. Come on, let's run it back. Matt, have a great weekend. Have a great call with Butchie tomorrow.
All right, sounds good, guys. Have a good one. All
right, Badgers and Buckeyes tomorrow, 1:00 tip.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough sell. I know that 8 to 9 wins gonna be a tough sell. We got to see some proof in the pudding.
We'll take it. Absolutely. But
it'll be fun.
All right. Luke Bryan tickets. We've got our last pair to give away. That's coming up next. If you want to see him, Alpine Valley, it's the Word on the Street Tour, September 26th. Our last pair of tickets. The giveaway is next. It's the Huddle on Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. Drew, Billy, and Armin. It's the Huddle, Fox Sports Radio, Wisconsin. It's our last segment of the week, boys.
That's crazy.
Who's winning? We are. Who's got it better than us?
Nobody.
There we go.
Hey, well, maybe not.
Well, people that are just waking up right now, maybe, but you know,
it's all relative. Right?
It's all relative. I was just gonna say it depends on your perspective. There you go.
That's right.
they're not lucky as lucky as us because they haven't been able to watch this amazing Novak Djokovic Yannick Sinner match.
Yes, we got a fifth set in Melbourne, baby. Novak
Sinner's
has forced it.
2-1.
What's better than that?
What's better? You tell me Novak career's done all these guys. This isn't Jordan in a Wizards uniform. Djokovic is out there now. He's down in the fifth set. Sinner's hitting 95-mile-an-hour winners, but we're out here entering the fourth hour of play in the Aussie Open semi. There you go.
All right. Hope we've brightened your morning today. Brooke Brighton joined us. That's a bright spot for
That
sure.
helps. Yeah.
Now, we're going to brighten somebody's summer. Their entire summer going to be spent looking forward to the Luke Bryan Show, Alpine Valley. It's the Word on the Street Tour, September 26th. It'll be out of that window where those shows are impacted by lightning storms and thunder.
Yes. Hopefully, no swamps that turn into the parking lots.
That's right. Luke Bryan, special guest Drew Baldridge, Lauren Watkins, and Ray Lynn. We've got our last pair of tickets to give away, and Billy's got the question for us. Phone lines are already popping. Billy, what is the question?
All right. Since Drew, luckily enough, we have somebody on the program that is award show literate, knew that the Grammys were this weekend. Like the Grammys coming up this weekend, you can bet on them, I believe, at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. You can have a whole lot of fun. The 68th annual Grammy Awards. Very simple question. How many Grammy Awards has Luke Bryan won? 877-794-1973.
Right. How many Grammy Awards has Luke Bryan won?
19 different awards. He's the most important ones are the iHeartRadio Awards that he has won for Country
CMAs,
Artist of the Year, CMA.
So
There's
many
a ton of
award
them in
shows.
here. A ton of
But
them.
the Grammys are still big. They enjoy that sweet spot between Championship Sunday and the Super Bowl Sunday. So like the people will be watching on Sunday night.
They just own this slot. I like that.
Yeah,
That's a
good.
good piece of real estate to have.
All right. Paul in Menasha is our first contestant on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. Paul, you're in the huddle.
Hello there.
Hello, Paul. How many Grammy Awards has Luke Bryan won in his nearly 20-plus year career?
But I don't actually think he's won any.
Paul,
Final answer?
is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Atta baby, Paul! Atta baby,
Wow.
Paul! Way to not overthink yourself.
Yeah, what about that?
Way to hold firm, even when we maybe gave you a little gentle nudge. That is great work, and he just earned that victory.
Paul
Zero.
in Menasha. Zero. How is that possible?
That
Not
just
only
seems
zero
unbelievable.
wins, he's actually never been nominated for a Grammy.
That's like,
That was stunning to me when trying to find the digging
Well,
and just too good of a question to not
The
ask.
voters must have changed the system, and they didn't like
there's the ACAs, the CMAs, the ACAs. Paul in Menasha is a winner. Apologies to Denise, Corey, Dan, Brian, and everybody else that tried to win.
What's a bigger upset, him not winning any Grammys or Nolan Ryan never winning Cy Young? What's more
Did
surprising?
Nolan Ryan deserve that?
Well, I'm just making a point.
Friday at 7:51 in the good land, just
Come on,
catching an
Flex all
absolute
400 or whatever the
stray.
hell he used to put on. Remember that?
You never know.
All right, Paul, hang on the line.
They were
Armin's going to
gonna
get
vote
your
for him.
information. We'll get you those tickets. People really win listening to the Huddle. We love brightening people's mornings, and giving away tickets is an easy way to do it.
It always does. And Drew, you have not said, you've said a lot of smart things and a lot of very, very factual things. Maybe the most factual thing is that it is great to have something at the end of summer to think about and know that is coming up.
I think, one of the things that's going to be, people are going to be looking forward to is that Badgers game at Lambeau.
Big time.
That's going to be
Big
like, that's-
time.
the
Looking
melancholy
forward
that
so
comes.
long.
Labor Day weekend is always that, Sunday scary type thing. It's like, oh
Mhm.
man, now it's over. Summer's over. But now we got that on that Sunday leading into Labor Day. People can get as, plastered as they want.
Tuned
and
up as
Exactly.
you want on Sunday.
take the
Oh.
Monday off. And
It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Hopefully it's a great game. Remember this one, you want to talk about waiting for this. This was going to be in 2020, I believe, when it got postponed due to COVID. They played the game at Soldier Field, and a game that was much closer than the final score would indicate. I believe the Badgers were in like a 17-13 game at Soldier Field against Notre Dame in the kickoff of the 22 season, I want to say. Jack Cohn was starting at quarterback, maybe 21. And then all of a sudden there were 3 returns for touchdowns by Notre Dame, and I think they lose like 41-13. You're like, wow, they weren't even on the same field. Much closer game. So it could be a very, very exciting one. That also sparks up one of my favorite conversations that Armin and I will always rant about.
Yeah.
Just play NFL games on Labor Day weekend.
Oh
what
my
else are we
gosh.
doing?
I know.
We're sitting back watching. We got Monday off, Drew.
God forbid I want an open
Belly
day.
up.
Yeah.
Logic's not flawed there.
Oh.
I'm just saying. Actually, I'm not trying. I do wish the Super Bowl's on a Saturday night, though. That's one thing I'll always say.
All right. Well, starting up on Monday at 5 a.m., we'll be talking about Badgers, Buckeyes. We'll be talking about the Giannis Chronicles, which the twists and turns that happen over the weekend. We'll be starting to forecast what's going to happen in Santa Clara with the Super Bowl.
And hopefully
prop bets,
even as clear a forecast as Brooke Brighton delivers.
Let's do it. Absolutely. It's been a fun week. Our first full week is in the books. We're 9 shows in to Wisconsin's favorite morning sports and stuff show. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will see you at 5 a.m. Monday. Have a great, safe weekend.
Peace.